Hey everybody, what's going on? And welcome back. And in case that nobody's there yet, when you do pop in, be sure to share the link out there and let people know that we're going live, because everybody assumes that the guinea pig is dead. YouTube has certainly tried to make it seem that way. The lovely Sherry's in the house. Hello, Sherry. I hope that you are doing well. And we are joined by Lasso of Truth. What is going on, Lasso?
Hey, how's it going? Happy to be here. And yeah, looking forward to streaming with you again. Um it's yeah, it's been crazy here, but yeah, looking forward to streaming tonight.
Awesome. It's always a pleasure to have you on. I noticed one of the things that a lot of people are talking about again is all the ridiculousness that YouTube is up to yet once again. It just never seems to stop with YouTube. And YouTube, I've noticed you've been doing it with a lot of the little shorts that I've been putting out there. You suppressing them again. Like, why? Like, in the first 15 minutes, when I see a video that's doing 1,000 views and I'm like, okay, this short is doing fairly well. And then all of a sudden it just dead stops for no reason whatsoever. That's got to be suppression, because there's no way a video is going to jump like that and then just suddenly just die, drop dead, not a single view more, especially when I hear people tell me that they don't even get updates that my shorts are going on my channel. Matter of fact, you were talking about that before, Lasso.
Yeah, that's true. I don't get any notifications for anybody's shorts at all. I do get notifications for other stuff, but for some reason YouTube isn't telling me that people are putting out shorts. I don't know what it is.
It's totally insane, because there's a few people that I've been subscribed to for a long time. One of them is where I first started modding, and that would be John Talks. I still, every day, I get updates that he's posted shorts. Hey, what's going on? The CJH, good to see you in the house, buddy. I hope you're doing good. Hope that little problem that you got going on works itself out. Cooler heads prevail. But real quick, I want to give a shout out to YouTube on this one. Suck it, you bastards.
We are the Guinea Pig Collective. All will be assimilated. Resistance is futile.
You can kiss my ass and you can suck my balls, and I'm like, fuck you. Guess fucking with the chat wasn't enough, and I'm like, fuck you, yeah, fuck you too. Taking our views and taking our brothers away. Now ain't that some shit? There's a million other things that I probably could say, but I'm like, fuck you, yeah, fuck you too.
I think that pretty much sums up how I feel about the ridiculousness.
Yeah, it was a little vague, but I got the idea.
Just slightly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh God, they're so ridiculous. Now I know maybe not everybody knows him, but Grant Gregory just went through the same thing. Like Grant Gregory had a fairly, I guess it was a fairly small channel, and he got that one short video that apparently did really well, got a lot of eyes on it. His channel just kind of blew up overnight, like tremendously blew up. Thousands upon thousands, tens of thousands of subs. Actually, I think he might have been like 35,000 or possibly more. I can't remember what the number was. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, his channel was gone. It apparently got hacked. I don't know if they hacked his Google account too, but it was like a week or so that he was sitting there arguing back and forth with Google just to get his Google account back, his Gmail, just to get that back. And then now he's finally working on getting his channel back, but now he's got to start all over again with trying to build up his watch hours.
Yeah, that was nuts. Someone did a number on his Google account and everything. I saw the update today. I think that you retweeted it, that he got his channel back, and I was actually surprised that he got that back. And apparently he still has all his subs as well. And I checked today, and I think it's almost at 57,000 subs. And
Okay.
Yeah, so that's pretty awesome that he was able to get all that, not just get his channel, but with all the subs as well. That's awesome.
It should have
Good.
never happened in the first place. Yeah, and I see that lovely share. Yeah, Grant got his channel back and got monetized. I know I'd seen it earlier, and I know he said something about trying to get back to working on getting monetized because he didn't really have the watch hours. Like once again, it was because of a short, and for even a short being viewed hundreds of thousands of times, it's not going to give you very much in the way of watch hours. Because I'm actually stuck in that same predicament myself. Been over 1,000 for I don't even how long it's been now, but I'm not even close to it. And
Yeah.
it's part of the problem. I'm having issues with the computer and then trying to get videos done when the computer's giving me shit because Microsoft, fuck you and your updates, you son of a bitches. But it is what it is. I'm going to find a way to work around it. Probably one of the easiest way I could do is if I could just make a regular long video with no breaks in between, just film it as it is, no special effects or anything like that. I would be able to put up a full video that way right from my phone. And I wouldn't even have to worry about going through my editor. But unfortunately, I love to edit the videos. It's fun.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's time consuming, but I love the way some of them turn out at the end. Maybe not perfectly, but not bad. Oh, Sherry says 59.6.
Nice.
Hey, what's going on? Luffy is God. Don't listen to these fools. YouTube, you are perfect just the way you are. I love you. Luffy. And what's up, King of Squibs? What's up, King of the Squibs? I hope that you were doing well. But oh my God, I mean, they just make it so hard for some of the people that are trying to be content creators, let alone the people that are trying to actually do something and make money with this platform. They make it so damn difficult. I mean, they demonetized Ord's Board right away. I remember at one point my buddy Fanzine, who does the most benign content of all the other creators that I've talked with and had on my channel and conversed with, his content is very benign. He's talking about old movies and VHSs and Blockbuster and stuff like that. He got demonetized for a while over some bullshit, and it turns out it was a fraudulent claim against one of his videos. And it took him weeks just to get that claim removed, the strike. And then it took him another month or two before they finally remonetized his channel. I mean, at that point, when they realized it was a bogus claim, they knew it was a bogus claim, and they removed it. They should have given back monetization right away, but they didn't.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Yeah, his channel's awesome. I love his channel. He covers topics that I'm interested in, like physical media, and he likes the old school horror that I like, and I think you like that as well. And yeah, I've never seen him cover any topics that are controversial or anything. So yeah, it's ridiculous. YouTube is totally out of control with the way that they treat people on this platform. It's ridiculous.
It's terrible. It really is. And I've said it before and I will say it again. In case nobody's ever noticed, this only happens right around election time that they go really insane.
Yep.
Hey, what's up? I'm not creative 22. Hey guys, remember this is an open panel, so if anybody decides that they want to stop in and hang out with us, just give the word. I don't mind. I run when I run an open panel discussion. I don't care who wants to stop on. All you have to do is say, "Hey, I want to link and I want to jump in and discuss this too." I do not care. I'm not playing favoritisms or games. Anybody is welcome up here, and unless you're one of those people that I just legitimately can't stand because you like to tell lies. Those type people, you can go suck fuzzy guinea pig nuts. But I mean, other than that, I mean, oh my God, has there really been anything even worthwhile in entertainment that you wanted to see? Because I know everybody's talking about the new hate king on the block right now, which is Wakanda Forever, and everybody can't seem to get it out of their mouth. Every single channel is doing another video on it or another live stream on top of another live stream on top of another video, and it just never seems to end. And I'm pretty sure that Wakanda Forever is going to be in everybody's mouths for the next 2 to 3 weeks nonstop. I was not interested. I didn't care. I didn't even watch any of the trailers. As a matter of fact, is when Wakanda Forever popped up on Twitter to try to show me their trailer for it, I automatically blocked them because guess what? If you're a Disney corporation or subdivision of Disney, the minute I see you on my Twitter feed, you're getting blocked automatically because I don't care about that company.
Yeah, same here. No, I'm definitely not interested in anything Disney related, like Marvel, any of that, no more. So yeah, I feel the same way, and it's weird because I don't get those ads, and I've never blocked them. So that I'm glad for that. No, I can't think of anything coming out that I'm looking forward to seeing. I'm pretty skeptical about new stuff now. I feel like everything's gonna be, contain some kind of message. So I don't know. I have like a cynical mind towards it.
It's sad, really is. Hey, I'm not creative. I will never make money on this platform. I have not gotten any views and likes the past 2 days. You know what? Post a link to your latest video in the chat, man. Promote yourself, damn it. Anybody that's got a wrench on my channel, feel free to promote yourself. I don't care. I'm not going to get mad at you. I may say guinea pigs after you if the video is really terrible, though. You may lose a toe if it's a terrible video. So please post a good video. But, one of the things I was looking forward to, and I just don't feel the need to get another streaming service, is I'm kind of looking forward to what they're going to be doing with Godzilla and the Monsterverse over there on Apple TV. Because I heard that's coming out. I heard it's supposed to be pretty good because they're supposed to really follow everything that's been established in the Monsterverse already. I mean, that sounds interesting to me. But beyond that, I really can't think of anything else I'm interesting. I know people are talking about there's another John Wick coming. I didn't watch the other ones. I mean, quite honestly, I don't know. It didn't scream, I want to watch it.
Yeah. I've seen all the John Wick movies so far. I feel like the last one kind of didn't really live up to the other John Wick movies. So I think maybe it's kind of beating a dead horse. I don't know. I mean, I'll probably see it, but I won't go to the movies to see it or anything like that. Like when it's free streaming, like on a streaming service and it's free, I'll probably catch it, but I won't be running out to catch it.
No, definitely not. No, and we refer to that around here not as beating a dead horse, but beating a dead Kennedy, meaning Kathleen Kennedy, because she's got a horse face. But the lovely Sherry, thank you for posting that link to Lasso's channel, guys. Also, all the links are down in the description below. You've got to sift through them, unfortunately. So I do appreciate it when the mods put it in the chat for everybody to find a lot easier. Yeah, I'm not creative, man. Put one of your latest videos in the chat, man. What are you waiting for? A dead invitation? But there's a few things that I've been doing lately, once again, just because the state of entertainment is so bad that I keep going back to some of the classics. So I was going back, I was watching the old Buck Rogers. I finally finished that off. I do have the Logan's Run TV show that I never watched as a kid, never had the opportunity to watch it. So that's over on Tubi. I'm going to watch that. But I've been going back to the old school Battlestar Galactica. Now,
nice.
Well, we know Drew. Everybody should know Drew right now. And if you haven't, you've probably seen his dong snaking along down your street at some point. But Drew was always talking about the new Battlestar Galactica, their revisionist version of it, which it was okay, but it wasn't my thing. I didn't really care for the changed characters. I didn't care for a lot of the changed elements to the story. I mean, like I said, it wasn't horrible, but I prefer the old one myself. So I've gone back and I started rewatching that, and I could see a lot of the things that they parroted in the newer version from the old one. Whole lot of different scenes. Hey, what's going on? Demogeny in the chat. Good to see you, man. I hope that you were doing good, Multiverse Tommy. In case anybody doesn't get that, when I was modding all the time, Demogeny said it was like I was everywhere all at once, because sometimes I'd be modding up to 7 streams at the same time, so it would look like I was everywhere, which I almost was. I don't know how I did that on such terrible freaking internet connections, too.
Nice
But then
job.
again, You know what? Modding and running a live stream are two different beasts altogether. It takes a lot more power to run a live stream than it does to mod a bunch of channels.
Yeah, I can imagine. I haven't run a live stream yet. Hopefully soon.
Oh, you gotta get on that. You know what? Here's what I'm gonna do, just in case anybody feels the need. But if there's any trolls, you jump in my chat, I will ban you permanently from the channel. So I'm gonna do this because I just don't even care. It's one of those days. This is a friendly hangout, so anybody feels frisky and want to jump in and discuss something that they're looking forward to, just jump on and say it. Don't bother me. I am not going to be specious in any way. Anybody's welcome on. I'm not creative. Says I did see 2 films that look good: Creed 3 and Devotion. I remember seeing the first Creed. I didn't see the second one.
I don't think I've seen any of those.
I remember the first Creed was pretty good, but Luffy as God, it's off to a slow start. The big name reveal for movie 2 was Godzilla and Kong. Wick 4 looks awesome though. I know they are talking about another Godzilla versus Kong, and some of the channels that I watch that deal specifically in the MonsterVerse movies have been talking about what they think is going to happen. They're talking about a big Gojira type lizard, but it's not a Gojira. That is supposedly the one that starts the Gojira Kong species war, where they almost all get wiped out. So there's a hint that maybe this is the creature that they're going to wind up going against. But no, of course, nobody's quite sure. It's just, another rumor. But you know what? Some of these guys have been pretty good with some of the rumors they were talking about what was going to happen in Godzilla versus Kong. They all said that Mechagodzilla was going to make an appearance. So they were dead on for that.
Yep.
Just chilling, enjoying the day off. And Damaja, I never saw Creed either. The first Creed I thought was okay. I didn't think it was spectacular. I thought it was good, but I kind of got lost in the Rocky shuffle of movies after Tommy Gunn. I was like, ugh. The one with Tommy Gunn, what was that? 5, I think it was.
Yeah, I can't even remember, but yeah, I've seen enough Rocky. I'm all set with Rocky anything right now.
Well, for me, with a lot of those movies, it's hard to ever top the first one.
Yeah.
Because I have this thing, and I've said it over and over again. I love introductions. I love the first time you see these characters, how they're doing, how they develop throughout the story. I love that. Second film in a series, sometimes it's technically can be better, but I still prefer the first one. And one of those prime examples is Star Wars. I like the original Star Wars. Mm-hmm. Empire Strikes Back technically was a better movie. I won't argue that it was a better made movie, but I still prefer the first one just because of the introduction to all the characters.
Yeah, I get that. I can see that as well.
Oh, yeah. Tommy Gunn was the 5th one. Yeah, I thought so. And that's the one that kind of took me a little bit out of the franchise. I don't know what it was about that movie. It just felt like they lost the whole overall theme of what the Rocky movies were supposed to be. And it's just.
Well,
what about Mecha Piggy?
Oh, yes. You got to make one of those. That's awesome. Well, once you get like you get up to the 5th movie of a franchise, it's kind of stretching it. It
is a lot of time. At that point, it almost feels like they're just milking the franchise. And we got another participant here. We got Damaja Nanai. What's going on?
Welcome.
Hello there. Hi, can you hear me good? Because I'm on my cell phone.
Yeah, you sound fine.
Yep.
Oh, he popped out. He must have lost connection. He'll probably be back in as soon as he gets reconnected. There he is.
The second movies that I have to go with Empire only because I do remember the first one, but I was literally a newborn when Star Wars: A New Hope came out. But Empire Strikes Back, I was 3 going on 4, so that technically was like my first Star Wars. So to me, that was like my first one, but it was the second one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, I totally get you. Well, I've talked about this too. Like I was out when the original. I was a kid when the original one was released. I didn't see it until I was like either 7 or 8. I forget how old I was exactly. I seen it a year late because I couldn't see it in '77 because it wasn't released in any of the theaters anywhere near me in Jersey, because that's where I was living at the time. I was living in Trenton, New Jersey. So there was no theaters anywhere near us that was actually playing Star Wars. Yeah. So when Lucas re-released it in '78, that's when I was able to see it.
Wow.
Okay.
That's crazy. Yeah. No
For
theaters
me,
around you playing it?
Well, it was very limited on that first run because everybody was certain that it was just going to be a bomb.
Wow.
So here's a fun fact with the original, Star Wars at the time. I think the first time I saw it was probably on like regular terrestrial TV, right? And honestly, I was so young, I don't remember how I saw Empire Strikes Back, but I know I saw it. And that was like my favorite Star Wars. It still is my favorite Star Wars to this day, even though a good close second is Revenge of the Sith. But I still hold the original trilogy at a much higher regard than the prequel, even though the prequel is still, 1 through 6 is still like, the holy grail compared to what we have now.
Right.
Oh, absolutely. Other than The Force Awakens, and I've talked about this a few times, other than The Force Awakens, and then a friend of mine pretty much browbeating me to watch Rogue One, and my wife browbeating me to watch Solo with her because she wanted to watch Solo so bad. I did not watch any of the other ones because I was actually done after The Force Awakens. I wanted to walk out of the theater during The Force Awakens. And I know some people will say, oh, well, it's the EU purist people and da-da-da-da-da. I was a fan when I was a little kid when the first movies came out. I got all the Marvel comic books. I got a whole ass ton of the original EU books that I was reading when I was a kid. I enjoyed that franchise for what was there and what was delivered to all the fans, because there was a lot of fan service done. A lot of fan service. So watching these newer ones, it just felt like they were doing stuff to try to draw the old fans in without giving them any substance. They gave us member berries, and they were sprinkled throughout Rogue One. It was sprinkled throughout The Force Awakens, and even to a small degree, it was sprinkled in with the Solo movie. It did nothing for me.
So I was mentioning this when I was talking about my my review with the Black Panther Wakanda Forever, right? Because I went and saw that thing because I have a YouTube channel, so I did my duty. But the one thing I can say is one thing that Marvel did that Disney did. Well, they're both Disney, but Lucasfilm didn't do. What the Marvel Studios did do is at least I'll give Marvel Studios this. At least they gave Phase 1 through 3 was essentially the Infinity Saga. It was something like basically ripped out of the comic books with some few tweaks here and there and put on screen. And then from Phase 4, we're basically getting the all new, all different, Marvel, which is the 2012 version of Marvel to now, right? What Lucasfilm should have done was essentially that. They should have said, guess what? We're going to leave the EU and everything intact, right? We're going to get 7, 8, and 9, and then from that point on, we're going to do what we want to do. And if they would have did that, I think a lot of people would have been like, okay, you can thrash and burn now, but at least you gave us, 6, 7, 7, 8, and 9, But they didn't even do that. You know what I'm saying? And I basically, after Rise of Palpatine, because I refuse to call it the other name, I destroyed my Rogue One, and I destroyed my Force Awakens DVD on camera. I have that on screen, too.
No, I definitely hear what you're saying in that, and I do agree to a certain part that with Marvel, they kind of gave us what they want, but I felt like they started falling apart in Phase 3 myself.
You did? Yeah.
Well, here's one of the biggest reasons, because everybody that has ever read the original Marvel comics, and especially the Infinity War, the Infinity
I know it was
Saga,
different. It was different, definitely.
That was the thing. They started off by giving you almost while not exactly page for page from the books, they gave you hints that they were going in that direction. When they did Guardians of the Galaxy, they gave you that hint at Adam.
Oh yeah, that pissed me off.
They gave you the hint at Adam at the second movie, and then nothing continuing forward. Like, what are you guys doing? You're giving it to us, and then you're taking it away, and then you're inserting this new Captain Marvel garbage into it. Like, who wants to say that?
Which, by the way, excuse me, let's be correct. Miss Marvel had nothing to do with the original Infinity Gauntlet, Infinity Saga. If my memory serves me correct, I think the main players were Nebula, because she was the one who actually reversed everything, and that snap, which is a big, giant, huge. When I say huge, I mean it is a Grand Canyon size plot hole that they made it a 5-year blip. That is a problem because they really have not focused in on how, except for Captain America and Winter Soldier, right? Which that was still, BS. But they really never, talked about how serious that blip was. You got to think about it. In 5 years, half the universe is blipped out of existence. You're talking about people remarrying, people taking over land, countries getting smaller. That is not something that you just snap back into reality and not have a major consequence to. You know what I'm saying? And at least in the comics, the snap was reversed. Essentially relatively quickly. It was like, okay, I'm snapping everybody back to reality and fixing everything. But 5 years. That's a problem. That is a big, giant problem. And they didn't really even talk about it. They didn't at all.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's part of that lazy writing that Disney is known for. Disney has always been known for lazy writing. I mean, they take older stories and they kind of like, they change them a bit. And they did the same thing with a lot of this Marvel stuff where they could have gave us what we wanted. They could have pleased the fans enough, like you're saying, like a lot of those earlier ones. While not perfect, the Captain America one did not, do the best at all the Marvel films, but I think it was probably the closest to the original comic book story, as far as all the Marvel releases were concerned. And I thought it was pretty good the way that they represented it. And then somewhere along the line, they lost that in view of these more modern takes on these films, because they always feel like they go, well, we got to modernize it for the modern audience. No, you don't. You just give them a good story, and if they're going to be drawn to it, they're going to be drawn to it. And who are you making these films for to begin with? Are you really making it for people that were never interested in these franchises and these comics and these characters to begin with? Or are you just making it for people that just want to sit in front of a theater with a popcorn bucket?
I made this point before. When they say the instant they say they're making it for a modern audience, I automatically lose interest, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when you think about it, this making it for a new audience is actually the worst thing you could possibly do, because your new audience has the attention span of TikTok and have the how should I say, the fortitude of somebody who doesn't know what their gender is. So, you need people like myself and everybody on this panel to be the liaisons, not necessarily gatekeepers, even though we should be gatekeepers. We should have been gatekeepers, but we didn't. But we need to be the liaisons between the old stuff and the new stuff. Because I'll put it to you like this here. For me on my side of my family, I am the Star Wars guy. There's nobody to be fair, I got drawn towards Star Wars myself. My mom is not really a geek girl. My dad, forget about it. My dad is an OG. He's nowhere. The comic book stuff ain't really his thing, right? So I was the guy who was, I basically gave the stamp of approval. Hey, Star Wars, this Star Wars is good. This ain't good. Blah blah blah. If you don't get me, you lost. And I'm now I'm probably like the kind of the elders at this point because I'm getting up there. But I'm like the mid-tier elder of my family. So if you don't get me, you lost all of my cousins and their kids and their kids' kids, basically. So it's a bad move And we've seen this because right now Disney is hurting. They are hurting right now because they bet on the wrong horse. They bet on the people who give you thumbs up on Twitter and don't give you thumbs up in the wallet. That's basically what they did. That's what they did.
Yep, that's perfectly put. I love that.
Yeah.
I mean, it is unfortunate that they're looking to people like this to sell their movies to.
My choice! My choice! My choice!
And that's who they think is going to show up to all the theaters and watch their movies and buy their merchandise. Guess what? They don't care about that stuff. They're too busy eating kitty litter. They don't care about it.
It's true.
It is terrible, but I mean, it drives the hardcore fans away, the people that spend their money, the people that talk about these franchises through word of mouth, like what you were doing. You talking to your cousins, you talking to other friends. You know, you pass that word along. Hey, man, you should see this. This is really good, and we still do that today. That's why we sit up here and we talk about the things that we love, and we talk about these things that we don't want to waste time in. I mean, Damaj and I, you know my thoughts on Disney. I hate that company with my entire being. The only time I want to see Disney is when it's on fire so I could show up with marshmallows. I hate that company. I haven't forgotten any of the things that they've personally done to me when they've tried to attack my channel. I have never forgotten the shit that they did with Ali, and that stuff will always stick with me. And once I get a grudge against a company like that, I hold on to it strong, and I just refuse. I refuse to give them any of my time. But I mean, I understand there's just a lot of people would like to see maybe there's a chance that they're going to change it. Maybe they're going to turn it around. It's just with the current administration, I think running companies like Disney and Paramount and a few others, I really, the expectations have got to be extremely low at this point.
Yeah. I don't see them changing course. I just don't.
Not anytime soon. It's going to take, because even though they have lost money, people are still going to that park. Like I went down. I just came back from Florida last week, and I went down to the G&G FNT meetup, and the quasi semi smaller Dark Council meetup. By the way, we're having a Dark Council meetup next April. Sorry, next April we're having one. But people still go to that park, even though I didn't go. I went to the Orlando spot. The Orlando was popping. Like I couldn't believe how packed Orlando was. It was crazy. But people still going. As long as people keep going to that park, they got their bankroll. They can. I mean, they've kind of tightened the belt up now because they're realizing, yeah, this might be a little bit too much money we're spending on nonsense that we're not getting a return on investment. So we might have to cut it back a little bit. And that's what they're doing, but I think it's a little too late. You know what I'm saying? And
I think the unfortunate is that right there, Damaj and I, is look at the first people they're going at when they're doing cutting. They're going after the average employee first.
Of course they are.
Yeah.
That always happens.
Yeah.
That always happens. Absolutely. Look, I'm not giving them any pass or anything, but that's every single company. It's not just Disney. Every company is going to take care of the big guys before the small guys. That's every single company.
Yeah.
I wish it wasn't like that, but
that is true.
It's every single company. Like I remember when I used to work for a small t-shirt printing press, and they had cuts thin. I got lucky. I was one of the few who made it through, but they got rid of a lot of staff. You know what I'm saying? And all it takes is people not buying. And by the way, I don't know how political you want to get on your channel, but no,
it don't matter to me. If you want to let it fly, let it fly. I just don't care. What are they going to do?
Well, I'll just say this. We have right now we're in the middle of epic inflation, and we're in a recession at the same time. Mm-hmm. So, which they have not publicly said, but listen, I work retail and I see it. Okay, I have sales plans and I have numbers I have to hit, and I'm like, people ain't buying. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I can see it. Like I'm on the ground level. I'm in the trenches seeing. You get some some hits here and there, but it's not like maybe 5 years ago. 5 years ago, you could sit there and say, yeah, I'm making some money here and there, but now it's not the same. It's just not, you know. So
Well, I know a lot of these prices that have been going up, and I know you've seen it, with all the prices as well. Everybody has at this point, but
mhm.
even doing a lot of things I do, because I do a lot of review on a lot of these different franchise toys that I love so much, whether it's Transformers or He-Man, or should I say Masters of the Universe. Let's not accidentally confuse it with the Kevin Crybaby Smith stuff. But but even buying those things, I've had to cut back quite a bit because of how high the prices keep going. And you know what? There's a lot more toys I'm seeing on the shelf now than I was a year ago. And even then, they're still limited because of the scalpers and everything. But yeah, there's still a lot more sitting on the shelves now, and I can actually find shit that a year and a half ago there was no way in hell that I would have found those things sitting on the shelf.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's wow. Yeah, you're right. I realized that today. We were at Walmart, and yeah, there's quite a bit of stock on the shelves, and usually I have a hard time finding stuff. I didn't even think about that.
It really is crazy, and the people that are denying it, they've got their heads buried in the sand. And I would say this to them: yeah, keep your heads buried in the sand, because sooner or later the tide's going to roll in, and it's going to just take care of itself. Nature will work itself out. But Bone, I seen Bone had popped into the chat. What's going on, Bone? I know Miss Martin Muse had also popped in the chat. It's good to see you. Thank you for stopping by.
What's up, Teresa? How you doing?
Universal Studios has been doing better than Disney parks lately.
Oh yeah. Like the crazy thing, like my brother Drunk Studio, they better than. He's always over there, and they be like in his chat and everything. So it's not as, to put in perspective. Like again, like Disney took their side as far as bending the knee to the Alphabet Mafia and all that good stuff. But like Universal is literally in Park Hoppin's chat, which is Geeks and Gamers. That's their channel, and we know what happens. We know how the mainstream views Geeks and Gamers. Just look at how Zack Snyder reviews them. So it's funny how you see the difference between if you just flow and just let things, essentially let the market decide the market. I'm not going to say, what's right or what's wrong, or what you believe in is what you believe in. That's great. But at the end of the day, who's spending money where? At the end of the day, people don't want to have a company that says, yeah, we're going to be on the side of XYZ, when that's not what most of the country wants. Now, I know people might say, oh, well, we just came from an election and all the stuff like that, blah, blah, blah. But to be fair, most people are not right or left. They're just common sense. Mm-hmm. And the problem with that is that people who are just plain because me, I'm neither right nor left. I don't like neither one of the politicians on either side. I think they're different sides to the same coin, period. They're in that one club, and if you're not in that club, you're not part of their team. Point plain and simple. But with that being said, if you lean in one side or the other, the people are still under that Coke versus Pepsi type of deal. That's how they're viewing things. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. When to me, I can drink Coke and Pepsi, I'm like, they taste basically the same to me. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I feel about politicians. But when people see that brand name, aka Republican, aka Democrat, and Disney leaned on that one side, when you figure, when it comes to politics, it's really a 50-50, or maybe like a 55-45 split, however you want to split the demographic between, parties. But it's not like it's 90-10. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's somewhere like in that middle spot. And when you take the side of one side, you're going to piss off the other side. Rather than just say, look, we're just here to make movies and make entertainment. That's all you have to say. But when you do that, and you take a side, when you don't do that, and you take the side of, whatever political party thing you're trying to do, you're gonna piss people off, and that's where you're at right now. That's where Disney is at right now.
Yeah.
Now, I think that's a big problem with a lot of these companies. I mean, we seen it early on. I remember years ago when Gillette tried to do that, and they tried to pick a side, and they tried to pick the woke, and how many billions of dollars they went in the hole.
Did they not lose $1 billion in 1 week?
It was ridiculous. I know near the end, it was over $9 billion that they had lost, and they were just like, well, we're not giving up the message. Well, good luck with that, buddy.
So stupid.
You know, listen, I'm the type of person, I love everyone, right? There's I mean, I sounds cliche, but like I got gay friends, right? To be fair, I'll be 100%. I don't really know any trans people personally, but I know gay people personally. I got people in my family that are gay. I'm like, I don't care. Like, it's not me being like mean about it, but it's not my business. Like, I don't care what you do in your bedroom. It shouldn't be a political thing, right? It just shouldn't be. Like me, like I like women. Me liking women should not be a political thing. You know what I'm saying? It just shouldn't be. But when you make it a political thing, you're gonna, especially in regards to the fact that when you are leaning towards the alphabet team, let's be 100%. It's not that many people who are alphabet like that, because if it was, it'd be the end of humanity. If you think about it,
it's a funny thing though, Dimajan. I mean, there's some people that my wife worked with that are part of Florida Highway Patrol. And there's gay people that work at the Florida Highway Patrol too. And you know what? They're extremely nice people. They're not in your face barking this nonsense that you hear these weirdos, because it's these they're almost like Karens. They're almost like Karens. They're like what we used to call the soccer moms. They're Karen soccer moms that are out there professing about how badly these people are being treated, blah, 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 blah. While the people that are actually part of these communities are sitting on the sidelines, shaking their head, looking at them like, what the hell are you talking about? Why are you doing this? You are making this worse for us. But they just don't see it because they got a message that they want to sit there and promote, even though they don't even know what that message really is.
You want me to tell you something? I'm going to tell you something that's really, really interesting. And I'll put it to you in this way. It is the same thing when you see people try to put black and brown people in a monolith. I hate that. Like I said, I'm neither Republican or Democrat. So like when you hear somebody like, I don't know, Joe Biden say, if you don't vote for me, you're not black. I'm like, what did you say?
Yeah.
What did you say? You want to repeat that, buddy? So I don't like this whole thing. Like when you have these extreme people, like we have, for instance, something on a minor scale, what we have right now with Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, we have people say, oh, white people shouldn't go on there and see the movie. I'm like, are you stupid? Like, do you want this movie to fail? Look, my hobby, one of my other hobbies is hip hop, right? And I know friends who are in the business. And I would tell you, like, as a hip hop artist, your songs or your album does not go platinum unless white people buy it. Don't be stupid. You need white people to go see. You need everybody, not even white people. You need everybody to go see, or you need everybody to go buy your album. Same thing with movies. You need everybody to go see your movie. Why would you limit the amount of people who go see your movies? Hey, listen. My great grandmother is half white, right? Well, she was half white. She's not with us no longer. But when I heard stories from my grandmother, she told me when she was little, when it was actual racism, where you could actually not go into a bathroom, right? And my great grandmother could go, and she could because she passed as white. When I hear these young kids talking about, oh, I'm oppressed, and I'm like, will you sit down and shut up? You don't know anything about oppression, right? We're not oppressed right now. Sure, are we out of the woods? I don't think we are. But are we back inside the deep of the woods? No. Can we please stop acting like that? But the way these things work, the way the mainstream wants, they keep that divide, because you know what that divide does? That keeps white and black people against each other rather than against the machine. Because that's the one thing the machine really hates. They really hate when white and black people are together. Because if we white and black people are together, then they can't do the BS that they're doing.
Yeah.
And they perpetuate that.
Yeah, well, it's not only black and white people. It's just the people in general. They want us divided because they can conquer us if we're divided and fighting amongst each other.
Oh, absolutely. I was just using that. I was using white and black as the example with the Black Panther thing, but yeah, no, totally. It's white, it's white, black, Asian, you name it. Like they keep everybody, split. That's the whole thing. They want to split.
Yep. Absolutely.
They want everybody to be kept in their corners. And what's going on to Dead Punk Gage? It's in the house. What's up, Dead Punk Gage? They don't really care about whether it fails or not because ultimately it's not their money. And that's absolutely true. What's up, Dark Side is Comics and Tony from the Clown World Reviews in the house. Hail all, wish I could come on today. I swear I will try next Monday, brother, or maybe this Thursday. It's all good, man. Whoever could pop in, man. I am not salty. I'm not mad. It doesn't matter to me. We're just here to have fun, and we're be able to talk our minds without having to worry about, somebody trying to express us like Mama Susan.
Yeah, Mama Susan. It's funny you mentioned that just on a YouTube level. So I was sitting down when I saw Lord Callis down in Florida last week, and he was like, maybe you should, because to be fair, look, my channel is I've hit a brick wall. I don't know, I'm not hitting the algorithm or whatever. I'm stuck. Like I hit 1,800 and then I started going negative, right? And mind you, I've been doing this for about 4 or 5 years now, so there's no reason for me to be hitting a brick wall. But I have, and I'm like, whatever. I have my day job. I'm not quitting my day job. But he was like, maybe you should just like focus on one thing. You're just trying to give me some. And I'm not. This is not a knock against Lord Callis because Lord Callis is doing his thing. Big shout to him. But I'm thinking to myself, I can't do that. I guess you could say I have a bit of ADD. I've never been diagnosed with that, but I just can't talk about the same thing all the time. I just can't. I can't do it.
Yeah.
I view doing my YouTube channel as like a network channel. Like when you turn on Channel 4 NBC, you had your news, you had your comedy show, you might have had whatever other show you had, but you went to that particular network television channel to get all those different things. That's how I feel about my channel. My channel should be like, of course, I talk about pop culture. I talk about, gaming, or I play games and stuff like that. But then I also try to sprinkle in a little political stuff. Like I do that on my shorts, just to give you like a little bit like your quote unquote news portion of your channel and all that stuff. That's what I feel my channel should be. So it should be like a one-stop shop for me. And Mama Susan, speaking of her, basically just like, okay, whatever. We're just gonna keep you at 1,700. That's what basically does.
Well, I've been seeing that because like right now is the big push for shorts. Like that's where.
Yes,
really
I'm doing that. Like I actually did that a couple times today. Yep.
Well, I've noticed like certain days. Let's say because I do a few different things. So I do my shorts. Obviously, I do the toys because that was like one of the things that I love talking about on my channel. So I'll do a toy video. Maybe that day the toy video does really well, and some of the other toy videos that maybe I post that day they do well. The BattleBot videos that I do with those toys, they might do horrible that day. The next day, a BattleBot video will take off, and every BattleBot video will do fairly well that day. But the guinea pig videos and the toy videos will suffer because of it. And I see it on a daily basis that it's just one thing or another that they'll push on my channel. They won't push everything.
You know what's funny? I got more views when I wasn't monetized. Think about that. Once I became when I got monetized, my views basically became hit or miss. You figure, what do they say the percentages? So it should be about 10%. You figure, like I think that's what most people say, like 10% of your subs was actually watching your channel, in the long run. So you would think that at 1,700, I should be getting 170 views minimum. But I don't get that. I don't get that at all. And you figure, and it's not like it's a crazy thing. Like it's not like I'm talking about anything super risque. I might bring up, weekly topics, obviously, and sure, you might get a topic that might be a little risque, but it's not really like I'm trying to be like, oh yeah, F this person or F that. Like I'm just reporting the news, and I report on it because it has something to do with, pop culture.
Right.
But whatever the case may be, Mama Susie be like, yeah, nope. And I'm okay with that. Like I said, I'm not quitting my day job. I know better. I mean, hats off to people who can do that, but I know better than that at this point because, like, one of my favorite channels is MXR Plays, and they constantly, and you talk about a wholesome channel like that. Them two, like it's an Asian couple, young Asian couple, and they are very wholesome, all things considered. Sure, they might push your envelope with a little risque thumbnails and stuff or whatever. But that's that's on the internet, bro. Like, why would you, why would that be a problem? You know what I mean? And they always have some issues. For whatever reason, they have issues. I'm like, you can't win with this. You just can't.
It really is a shame. It is. And I know what you're talking about. Like some of the people that got like the nice wholesome videos, like people that are very like down to earth about everything too.
Mm-hmm.
There's this one guy I watch for toy reviews. Sometimes he's talking about the older stuff, sometimes the newer stuff. This guy, Michael Mercy from Canada, he keeps it very clean and he does fairly well for himself. And he unfortunately doesn't really get pushed in the algorithm very often. Like at one point, I used to see his videos popping up all the time, getting pushed, and then all of a sudden they were just dead. And it's just, it doesn't make any sense. What's going on? The Optic Racer's in the house, and Optic Racer is a lasso of truth. Hi, your figure reviews are so excellent.
Yeah, I was just commenting. Thank you so much for watching them. I really appreciate it. And I just subbed to you. I got you too, Demogeny.
Okay, cool.
Demogeny.
Demogeny. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry.
Just don't call him Demogeny.
Okay.
Like a genie. Don't call him that because he's not a genie.
Yeah, that is true. Well, Mary Mayhem used to say, put the D in my genie. Put my D in my genie. Okay, well, I don't know how Caffeinated the Wolf is gonna feel about that, but okay. But yeah, I don't know. Look, like I said, this is a battle of attrition, and hopefully one day I'll break the 2,000 mark.
No, I mean, that's the thing, though. I mean, if you ain't doing what you love, what's the point of doing it? I told everybody that when they first start off, and you got any advice? Yeah. Make sure you're having fun first and foremost, because if you're not having fun, what's the point?
And that's the other thing, too. Like, sure, I could sit out there and I can, like, for instance, one of my highest viewed videos was a Thundercats video, right? And I keep saying, man, people say, hey, man, you should just keep doing Thundercats. I say, I love Thundercats, but my attention span for Thundercats is not going to be enough for me to like do a whole channel on it. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is why I say that my channel is more of a one-stop shop. Do I go heavy into politics? No, I'm not going to say, support the red wave, support the blue wave, or whatever. I'm not going to do that. Will I talk about politics in regards to, I don't know how it affects, pop culture? Sure, because culture affects politics. It does. That's the truth. So I will talk about it in that regard. But I don't want to get into it. Like, if you want to hear me be more political, listen to my raps. Like, my raps I'll be more political in my raps. But other than that, my channel really started out as me actually literally doing hip hop stuff. That's what my channel was. Like, Demogeny is my stage name. And I was like, you know what? That's gonna be the name of my channel. That's it. That's all it is. That's my stage name. So, I guess I get a whole bunch of suggestions. Maybe I should change the name of the channel. I'm just gonna leave it at that because it's unique. Nobody is Demogeny. If you hear Demogeny, you know it's me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's basically it. Like I said, it's gonna be a battle for attrition for me. I will sit this out. I got my day job. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to keep, rocking and rolling. That's it.
Well, I mean, that's the one thing about it, too. You're always going to keep having fun. You're going to keep pushing forward. I mean, you know how long I've been around. And my channel has suffered relentlessly because apparently there's a bunch of specious bastards out there that hate guinea pigs. And they've kept me down forever. But, I mean, I finally did, through the the awesome people that are always showing up in the chats and the people that are showing up and watching my shorts, they pushed my channel finally over that 1,000 mark. And you know what? I mean, I can never be any more grateful than I am. I mean, it's truly is amazing that they actually did that for my channel. But I was suffering under that yoke for the longest time, and I could not get any movement or traction on my channel whatsoever. As a matter of fact, there was a few times that YouTube purposely just made sure to keep my channel suppressed, like, you know, the shit when my dad had passed and I was up north. I mean, it was 160 or plus some odd subs they took away from my channel overnight for no particular reason. And I was like, really? And that's when I was still just, you know, really building my channel still at the time. I just passed, I was over 600 some odd sub, and I was on the way to 700. And then that big hit that they got me with wound up taking me under 500. And I was like, and it was the same thing when I came back. I was building, doing what I wanted to do, trying to improve things and make things more enjoyable for how I seen it first. And if everybody else liked it too, great. But I started off, what do I want to do to make this more fun for me? And that's where I started off from. And I was having a lot of fun. And I guess it showed with some of the videos. And then it started snowballing and taking off again. And it actually wasn't until I started really investing a lot of time in the shorts that I started really getting a little bit more traction again.
Yeah, the shorts is where it's at. Like I've seen, you know, a couple of reports. That's where, because they're trying to compete with TikTok. So that's where they're going to be at right now. You know, so it's got to be like, for instance, today I did a short. I might do another one Wednesday. Like my schedule is Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Obviously the Dark Council's on Wednesday, but we're going to be in a hiatus for the holidays. And then Saturday and Sunday are live streams for me. So I basically keep that rotation. And that's the one thing that, now again, the one thing I will say that I know probably goes against me is the fact that, you know, being that I do work retail, I don't have like a set schedule. So I can't say, hey, 8 o'clock, the Modulate has the show going on. You know, so I can't do that. It's just not something I can do. So,
well, I mean, you kind of did that for a while on, what was it, Sunday, I think, because you were flopping back and forth with Fatal J for a while.
Yes, yeah. But now I can't do that just because of the fact that now I change shifts. I work 10-hour shifts now, so it's impossible. So I just, my main thing, you know, on the day, that's what I can do. You know, I keep my days that, you know, I have a show going. You know, I upload something, and that's it. That's all I can do. And then, you know, like I said, I'm going to keep my day job. I'm not going to sit there and be like, I'm going to, you know, put all my eggs in YouTube. The only way I'll do that is if I hit that freaking Mega Millions. Maybe I'll do it then. Maybe I'll do it. I don't know. But, you know, until then, I'm going to just keep doing what I'm doing and just, you know, having fun with it. You know, I enjoy meeting the people I know. You know what I'm saying? You know, it helps. You know, you get good conversation with people. I like the one thing I really enjoyed doing is when I went down to Florida, I met a lot of people, made some networking. I got some videos I might be doing coming up soon with other people that's new that I have never done a video with. So that really helps. I love that aspect of this. That's really freaking cool. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just gonna keep riding in it. That's it. That's all I want to do.
That's all any of us should do. Real quick, there was a couple questions in the chat for you, Damaj and I. So Dead Punk Gage, he asked, old school Thundercats or recent year Thundercats?
Oh, no. Old school. Old school. Old school.
And Optic Racer.
I'm Gen X, baby. Gen X.
Optic Racer says, Damaj and I, hi, you speak the truth about Thundercats. They are barely interesting to me. The intro, of course, is legendary.
Oh my God. Listen. I don't care what anybody says. That Thundercats intro kicks all the ass right now. All of it. It kicks ass. That intro is still mwah. That's one of the best intros of any cartoon ever. I don't care what anybody says.
I mean, personally, I like the cartoon itself. Yeah, was it cheesy? There was a lot of cheesy cartoons in the 80s and 90s.
Obviously, I watched that show. Yeah, I watched that show.
I was rewatching it at one point because my wife has Hulu. And I remember I just turned Hulu on one day and I was just looking through the library and I seen Thundercats, the old school Thundercats. No commercials at all either, which was kind of funny because the wife has the lowest tier Hulu with all the commercials, but there was no commercials in the shows at all. There was like a little commercial at the end of each show right before the next one starts, and that was it. So I was basically able to just sit there and watch the cartoon as it pretty much, its entirety without the breakup in the middle, which was really nice. And I had fun rewatching a lot of them.
No, to be fair, I haven't rewatched the originals. I will say the 2011 version was interesting. It was it was like God tier levels above whatever the hell they call it. That Thundercats Raw, that was an abomination. I don't give a ish what anybody says. That Thundercats Raw, it should be dumped into the ninth circle of hell and freaking buried on top of that.
No, they should take all physical copies of that show and they should bury it out in the desert right next to the ET from the Atari set.
Oh, I remember. Oh man, that's a deep cut right there. That's a deep cut.
Oh, that was funny too. When I was digging through my dad's stuff, I found he had like an old ColecoVision, old Atari, and he had a bunch of old Atari games. Lo and behold, sitting in a box, he's got the damn ET
He had
game for
ET?
Atari, and I was dying.
Wow.
I was just laughing my ass off.
Wow. So, like, my aunt passed away 2 years ago. My uncle's still alive, so it's not like they really cleaned out anything. But I know my aunt has. I know she has it because I remember when she got it, and she kept it in the box. And all I know is if they ever clean that house out, I gotta make sure I get my filthy mitts on it. What she has, right, is the original. I guess that would be G1. She has Slag of the Dinobots, which is very rare. I remember she had it. I remember when she got it too, and she kept it in the box. It's buried somewhere inside their stash, but I know she has it. And I'm like, don't let me come over there when they're cleaning that house out because I'm looking for that.
Yeah, church is everybody's going on about the ET now.
I've never played that game, but I know what it is. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Well, you know what, Demogeny, if you ever get your hands on Slag, because Slag was the Triceratops.
Yes, he was. Yep.
So if you ever get your hands on him, and if he is broke, be sure to hit me up. I mean, you know, my new Twitter handle is Pig Collective now because they nuked my old one. They didn't nuke it completely, but they froze it out, so I can't get back into my old one at Ratty Rackinson anymore.
Oh, was it? Damn it! I just tagged you on that shit too. Hold on.
Yeah, my new one's Pig Collective now, so I had to create a new one.
I just tagged you on that too. I want to put it.
But yeah, if you ever run across that thing, and if it is broken, reach out to me and let me know. I do have spare parts for Slag. Because a lot of the ones that when I was doing all the Transformers things, I was buying used lots of Transformers, getting all these broken Transformers and getting official parts from other lots and piecing bots back together. So I actually have extra parts for Slag, Sludge, Grimlock, all of them, including Swoop.
Really?
But unfortunately, Swoop is the one that's most broken. Man,
let me tell you something. Swoop, I always wanted Swoop because I could never find him. So I got Grimlock because my mom was like, she's like, if you pass all your classes, I will buy you a Transformer. Because obviously that was my jam, was Transformers. So she got me Grimlock. But the one thing I always wanted was freaking Optimus Prime. And let me tell you, to this day, I got jokes with my mom. I tell her, I said, Mom, how did you mess that up? How? She's like, I went to the store and I asked for Octopus. I'm like, Ma! I didn't like Octopus! What's wrong with you? How do you do that?
It's funny too. Like out of all the Transformers that I've gotten, Optimus is the one that I've had to fix the most.
I don't have G1. I have Power Master Optimus Prime. I still have him. That's the only one I have left. And I have I guess that would be Generation 3. It's an Autobot combiner. I forget their name, but they are. Cause I just bought it because they had it. I'm like, it was like the last Transformer I ever bought. Before I got out of my phase of Transformers. But it was a combiner. It's not. They were like the Constructicons, but they were Autobots, and I have them. Matter of fact, I'll go on camera real quick. Let me show you real fast. You might know what I'm talking about. Hold on.
More than like I might even have it. Who knows? I had so many case loads and crate loads of freaking Transformers sitting in that back toy room. It's ridiculous. I could open up a small museum with them all. Oh yeah, Bombshell. Like all the Insecticons, they all broke in various spots. But Bombshell, yeah, 9 times out of 10, the little yellow legs that flip down on the bottom side of them, those are the things that always broke every single time. And underneath his arms is almost like he's got a wheel with almost looks like a gun underneath his arm. That would always break as well.
All right. So I have this guy. This is the last Transformer that I bought. It is an Autobot combiner.
Yes, I'm trying to remember which one that
I
was.
Forget his damn name. I forget his name.
It was either right before or right after Armada that one came out.
Yes, yeah. So this is he is a he's a four people combiner. He's 4 because your guy is in the back. He's the arms. So you got the front and then the 2 legs. And this is the last Autobot that I bought that's still intact. I still have Metroplex, but it's at my mom's house, and he's broken in half because I have little brothers. But yeah, this is my last one that I have here. But yeah, this is pretty cool. I will tell you this. I want that Devastator. They had the remake. It was what do they call that? The Masterclass Devastator.
Masterpiece one.
Masterpiece. That because the one thing I liked about that Devastator is the fact that they were all the same size. Because if you remember the old combiners, you had like for instance the aerial bots. The aerial bots were 4 small Autobots and 1 big Autobot because leader what's his name? Not Jeff. What the hell was his name? I forget his name. Silverbolt. Yes, he was bigger than everybody else. But the one thing I always liked about Devastator is that they were all the same size. So like even the one that I have right now, they're actually all the same size. You know what I'm saying? But that new Masterclass Devastator. Oh, if I had the money, I'd get it right now.
Well, here's what I do, and I don't do this often because usually I like to get the ones that are officially Transformers. There was a Chinese like knockoff company that was doing their own version of the Devastator. It was like called the NBX or something like that. Okay. Holy shit, does this thing look cool? Each Constructicon is probably around the 7 to 8 inch tall when they're in robot form. So they make a close to 2.5, almost 3 foot tall Devastator, and it looks amazing. It does. It even has light up eyes on the Devastator head itself.
That's crazy. You remember Fortress Maximus? I remember that was like, I wish I could have got that as a kid. My mom was like, hell no, you ain't getting that. Thing was like, at that time it was like $100. Say, yeah, no, that's not happening. Say, I don't care how good your grades are, you ain't getting that.
Optic Racer wanted to know if you collect any of the new ones.
I have not collected any. That was the one I just showed was the very last Transformer that I have. So I have not collected anything. Now, if I ever run into some money, I did. There used to be an old comic book shop before, unfortunately the comic book bubble burst. There was a comic book shop out here where I'm at, and they had the die-cast metal, obviously, because what a lot of people don't understand is that, and you probably know this, Tommy, is that the Transformers had a Japanese origin before they came to America, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Well, I was going to mention that with the Constructicons real quick. Did you know that they were part of the Diaclone line before they came over to Transformers? And they
I remember
actually-
that. Yes,
They did.
Yes.
They did not release them for the first year because they
Mhm.
kind of wanted to hold them back. And there was the same thing with a few of the other figures like Ultra Magnus.
Yes.
And God, there was a few more. They were holdovers. The Dinobots and the Insecticons were also holdovers from the first year, along with a lot of those second wave Autobots that got released in '86. They were all holdovers from the Diaclone era. I had Diaclone and I had the Micro Change that was off the back of the original Micro Men, and they came over to the States under Mego as Micronauts.
Okay. Do you have you ever checked out oh my God, what's his name? I just want to blank on his name. Rodimus Primal.
Yes,
yes,
I
he
know
goes-
Rodimus.
Yeah, he goes over a lot of stuff like that. But yeah, that was the last Transformer that I collected. But what I was going to say was the comic book shop that used to be around. They're not there anymore. But they had at the time, and I wish I had the money at the time, but they were about $200 each. They had the Japanese version, but they were still old school. They were the die-cast metal version of Megatron and the Black Optimus Prime. I was like, oh, I wish I had the money to get that.
Well, you know what's really funny? There was a lot of people that actually thought that the Japanese ones actually had more die-cast in them. Believe it or not, they didn't. Here's one thing. Rodimus Primal probably knows about this one too. I don't remember if he's ever discussed it, but early on when they started, when they made that, they made that agreement in '83 at the Tokyo Toy Fair, and Hasbro partnered up with Takara to bring these. And yes, Takara, Dead Punk Gage. When they decided to bring them over to the States and they were going to rename it and create a backstory, Bud Budiansky and Jim Shooter, the big props for what they did to create the Transformers brand. But when they brought them over, a lot of those early Takara models, all they did is they just repackaged them. They just took them out of the Diaclone packaging and they put them in Transformer packaging and shipped them over. That's why the first thing they ever released was the little plastic mini cars, Bumblebee, Wind Charger, Huffer Brawn. Well, when they came over, some of them were miscolored. And a lot of people wound up getting the red Bumblebee, or they got the yellow Cliff Jumper. That was because they were just thrown in packages from the Micro Change line. They weren't even changed at all. They just threw them in brand new Transformer packaging.
I got a sad story for you. So I remember. So you know GoBots, right? Because Transformers came in and basically wiped the floor with GoBots.
Yep.
So when Transformers came out, I was instantly hooked. I remember the day I came home and I wanted to watch GoBots, and it's this new show, Transformers, came. I'm like, what? That's how it was. And I was so hooked on Transformers. But so obviously that became a thing. So my grandmother, God rest her soul, she always used to take me every now and then. She'd buy me a toy. So she took me to, at the time, I guess it was it Macy's or Sears and Roebuck? It was one of them back in the day. And they had the toy collection. And obviously back then they had Megatron. And she's like, yeah, you're not getting that. Because Megatron, for the people in the chat who don't know, if you did not put the Decepticon label on Megatron, he literally looked like an actual gun. If you did not put it on him. That's how they made Megatron look back in the day. So my grandmother's
the only thing about it is if anybody knew what an actual Walter P-38 looked like, Megatron was too small. But you're right, the engineering that they put in to make it look like a gun was actually truly amazing. The only thing I think that might have gave it away was the really high chrome that they only had on certain parts of the gun. Because remember, the very end of the barrel was that gray plastic. I think that was the one thing that really gave it away, though. That
the one thing that sucks is I never got a chance to transform Megatron. I never did. That was my main thing. Is you know as well as I do. When you see a Transformer, you want to be like, okay, I want to transform this. I just want to play with it. I want to transform and see what it's like. But so that day, my grandmother got me. What's it? Cliff Jumper. It was the Blue Doom Buggy. What was his name? Damn it! What was his name?
That was Beachcomber.
Beachcomber. That's right, man. Damn, you're like an encyclopedia. That's right. It was Beachcomber. I got freaking Beachcomber. That's what they got. He was a small one, because that's what you made me think about the smaller versions of the Transformers. So I got Beachcomber. Now, mind you, I grew up in Brooklyn, and I don't know if anybody knows about Brooklyn and the subways. There's always the air vents just on the subways, in the concrete, like on the streets. And I remember saying to myself, "You're gonna drop this on this damn grate, this grate." And guess what I did? Like, it's like I thought it into existence, and I dropped the effing thing into the grates, and I was like, it was one of those things where, like, I couldn't even be mad at myself, and I had to probably be about maybe 6 or 7.
Oh,
I didn't cry. I was just like in my head as an adult, like, you're an asshole. That's what I thought of myself. That was like one of my very first Transformers I ever got. And I also lost Scavenger too. I don't know how the hell I lost. He was part of the Constructicons. I lost him too. Asked me how I lost him. I dropped him one time and I couldn't find him. I was like, oh well, I guess he's gone. And I never saw him again.
I'll tell you what, I've got probably about 3 or 4 Beachcombers. Every single one of them are busted in some way. A couple of them, because that was one of the ones that still had the rubber tires on them too. So those rubber tires, either they got heated up the way they got stored and they turned into like a hard plastic, or the rubber tires were just split, or a few of them actually had that top cage part on his freaking, when he's in a dune buggy, that was like broken in. But I have yet to find one completely intact. Like every single one that I've found, they've always been busted in some way. And I've been trying to get enough parts so I could rebuild one in its entirety. But I just haven't been lucky enough to find all the right parts yet.
Yeah, I gave up hope after that. I got to that. I literally like, it's like one of those things where like you see one of those things like what was that what's the name of that show where the guy was waiting? I guess that Narcos, where the guy sitting on the swing, whatever. That's how I felt when I dropped them. I'm like, you see me sitting on the side, like I'm like this sitting. Wait, hold on. I'm trying to give you a visual representation. I'm on it like shit, like.
Well, I remember when all those things first came out, I had actually had both GoBots and Transformers, because you know they hit toy stores almost like a year before. But if you were one of those guys like me, and I don't know if you more than likely, you probably seen this if you were out at flea markets. You remember the Mall Rats with Kevin Smith before he turned into a crying bitch?
Yes, I remember that. Yeah.
So he was at that place called the US 1 Indoor Flea Market. That place legitimately used to exist. So I used to go there as a kid because it was up in New Brunswick. It was about an hour and a half or so away from Trenton. We used to go there all the time, and they had vendors from overseas. Okay. So everything that they had overseas, the Micromen, the original Bondi Machine Men, which became GoBots when they partnered up with Tonka, they had those. They had all the Go Lions from what became Voltron later on. Yes. They had all that stuff. So I was introduced to GoBots and all that stuff before they were GoBots. So I had Machine Men, and then I had GoBots, and then eventually, I had the Microchange, and I had Diaclone, and then eventually I got them when they were rebranded as Transformers. So I had already seen most of these toys before they even hit shelves. Where GoBots screwed up is they didn't have the marketing promotion that Transformers did, because Transformers under Hasbro had already seen the winning philosophy when they relaunched G.I. Joe in '82, and they released it with a cartoon, a comic book, regular promotion, to get those toys off the shelves. And they seen how well it worked. And, it was actually thanks to Reagan that all the original marketing shit you couldn't get away with at the time was lifted, and you were able to promote toys a little bit more heavily, as long as your cartoons legitimately had a story and it wasn't just selling toys. So he lifted a lot of those regulations to allow these companies to actually start really pushing these toys through comics and cartoons. But if GoBots would have came up with their shit earlier, because everybody knows that GoBots came out a year early, What
Yes.
they don't know is they didn't come out with their cartoons until right around the same time Transformers did. And that's why they failed so heavily.
Yeah, so that's what I was saying. When Transformers came out, I basically was like, GoBots, what? Like I was like their target demographic, and I was sold. Like I was absolutely sold when I saw that. Like just the that was the marketing tool alone. Like that alone was like, what? What is this? Like this is so much better. Like I had Leader One and I had Psykill. I did have Psykill. I don't know what ask me what happened to Psykill. I have no idea. I don't know what happened to my Leader One either. They both disappeared. But I had both of them. I had Psykill and Leader One, which is your top good guy and top bad guy on the GoBots. But yeah. Where you got this is I didn't see that. But yeah, that was my jam back in the day. Like my mom wouldn't let me really get G.I. Joes because they had guns. So she was so anti-gun back then. She still is, but I couldn't get G.I. Joes. But I did have Bionic 6. I love Bionic 6. You ever had those?
I did not have them.
Well, the cool thing about Bionic 6 was what I liked about them. They were die-cast metal, right? And their bionic parts, which was so freaking cool. It was such a great concept. Their bionic parts were plexiglass. Well, I'd say plexiglass, but they were plastic. And they were the color of their outfit, but the part that was bionic, you could kind of like put it to the light and it would like kind of glow. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, so it was like translucent kind of?
Yes. So like you could see like Leader One, who was the the dad, his legs and arms were bionic. So he had his legs and arms were basically plexiglass, and you could put it to the light and it would light up. And like Mother One was just legs, and then like Sport One was arms. It was pretty cool. It was a pretty cool concept. And then, like I said, the cool thing about them was they were made with die-cast metal and plastic. So like you really can't find that much nowadays. So.
No, it is a shame. Like even when they're doing some of these re-releases on some of these Transformers, yeah, I mean they do include some die-cast in them, but the die-cast doesn't seem as, I don't know, sturdy as the old stuff, and neither is the plastic. Because I've actually picked up a few of these when they were releasing. They released a jet set, so they released the Conehead jets, Dirge, Thrust, and Ramjet.
Oh, really?
This was years ago. They released it as a full 3-jet collection. So I have the original one sitting in the back, but I just wanted to get this full collection one since I was missing a few of the pieces for either Ramjet or Thrust. I forget which one it is. So I got this full collection. I took them out, and you could feel how much cheaper the plastic feels in these things.
I believe
even
it.
the die-cast feels lighter, and it's like, oh, what a shame. What a shame. Why didn't they just, redo them completely how they were? But like the toys back then with the die-cast in them, that stuff was hardcore. Yeah,
like those Bionic 6 I had, bro, if you let one of them things hit you in the head, you would feel it. You would definitely feel it, for real. But I don't know, like I said, the Bionic 6 I had the aerial bots minus, who was I missing? I was missing one of the arms. So what I did was I had one of the
Slingshot.
Was it Slingshot? I think it might have been Slingshot.
Slingshot was one that had like the little yellowish orangish head, and he was like a little Harrier jet.
I think that was him, because it was some of them. Like, so you might know this, that if you found them as a pack, which is very rare, because I remember seeing that you could get you could get Devastated a whole pack.
Right. They were usually con exclusives.
Yeah, like I remember, because obviously, like you in Brooklyn, you'll find, if you want to find it, you'll find it in Brooklyn. You'll find it. I remember there was this Asian store, and it was basically like, you go there, you find your knockoff stuff. You know how it is. And in that same knockoff store, They had some actual Transformers. I remember they had damn, what was his name? What's it the city, the Decepticon city?
Triptychon.
Triptychon, yeah, they had Triptychon, they had him, and they had Devastator. I was like, I'm looking at that, I'm like, man, like I told my mom looking at that, she looking at me, she's like, don't even ask. I was like, she saw it in my face. I looked at her, I looked at that, and she like, don't even ask. I'm like, I just kept walking. Like, you have that sad face, you'd be like,
You know what the funniest thing though is I don't know how well you remember the prices, but I remember a lot of the prices from when I was a kid. And back then it seemed like a lot of money for Optimus Prime. Do you remember how much he was selling for off the toy shelf?
$20?
Yes, $19.99.
Yeah, $20.
And it seemed like a lot of money back then to spend on one toy.
I mean, listen, the like I said, I had the aerial bots, and I think they were $9 a piece. Were they $9 a piece?
They were the small ones were about $6.99 to $7.99, depending on what store you went to. Now the bigger leaders for all the combiner teams like Silver Bull, and then later on with the Stunticons with Motormaster and Onslaught from the Combaticons, they were about $9.99 because that was right about the time the prices started moving
that's right.
up.
Yeah, because it kind of went from like 5, 10, 20 almost. Like it's kind of like almost like the price range around that, like 5, 10, 20. Like the small ones were 5, middle ones were 10, and then the major ones were 20.
Well, the funny thing is right in the middle too, there was a double price if you remember. So the Autobot cars were $9.99, but the Decepticon jets were $12.99. And then Soundwave was the only one who was an oddball, and he was something like $13 or $14.99 because he was slightly more than the jets, but he wasn't the same price as Optimus or Megatron.
So the one thing, and big, like we were just talking about Rodimus Primal, but they said Soundwave was like the face of Soundwave, like the Decepticon symbol almost. Like he was supposed to be like their icon for the most part.
Well, originally when they were converting most of the micro changeover, because he came with all these little tapes that they were like, oh, well, he's going to be the leader, because they weren't 100% sure if they could get away with using a gun as a leader, but they decided to do it anyway. And here's another funny thing. In the micro change line, there were more guns, right? They had one that was a 1911, like a 45, 1911 Browning. It was a little bit smaller than Megatron, but he was die cast and everything. Look it up, 1911 Browning from Microchange. They also had one that was a 44 Magnum. Thing was badass looking. Big old black 44 Magnum with brown handles. Thing was dope looking. I could never get my hands on that damn thing, though.
You probably never will either.
The other cool thing about those original Diaclone figures is they all shot plastic pellets. Because if you ever seen an original Megatron and you pull the trigger, you hear that clicking sound with a spring. That's because they had a firing mechanism in that they took out that Hasbro had removed prior to selling them as Transformers. So it used to shoot these little plastic pellets, and they used to have stand-ups that came with the original toys that you could shoot down.
No crap. That's crazy. I didn't know that. That's pretty cool. Like I said, I never had the pleasure of getting my hands on Megatron. I know they had because the crazy thing about, and you know this, Tommy, is that Megatron and Optimus Prime were not the same size, which was stupid when you think about it, because they were both the bosses. And Optimus Prime being a cab trailer, he was huge as far as scale wise compared to Megatron, who was a gun, because his gun version of him kind of had to fit in your hand like a normal gun. So when he transformed, he was relatively short and stubby, as opposed to Optimus Prime, who kind of like folded open. You know what I mean? So when they actually have and by the way, the original Megatron kind of had his trigger kind of sat in a not pleasant spot on his body. It was just so trigger was kind of poked out. But the newer one, they did the Masterclass version of him, and he actually looks more like the cartoon version of him. However, the drawback to that is he is big enough to kind of like be to scale with Optimus Prime, but he's too big to be a normal human gun. Like when you transform him, you know what I'm saying? So he would be, being that he's so big as a in robot form, his gun form was too big to be like a normal gun. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
that was a trade-off for it. But the good thing about it was that he kind of matched the size of Optimus Prime, which kind of makes sense if you want to have the two boss Transformers to fight each other. So.
No, I know I've had the sometimes it's a pleasure, sometimes it's a displeasure, depending on how bad it was broken. But I've had the opportunity to repair about 3 different Megatrons.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they always break in the same places too. It's always the chest, because he had like the chromed plastic chest.
Mm-hmm.
That would always break, and the barrel for the end of the gun has to do this like fold and flip around to the front. That would always break. Those are the 2 spots that always break on Megatron, besides the arms, plastic arms. But yeah, I've worked on many of those, and I've actually sold quite a few of those. And like I put one together from a broken lot of Megatron parts and shit that I already had, and I sold it on eBay, and I wound up getting $60. Like somebody just like flat out, oh, I'll give you $60 right now for it just put back together. And it didn't even have all its stickers, it didn't have all its parts. I'm just talking about just the figure itself. Somebody bought it like within 5 minutes because
really?
I put
Wow.
one up there. Yeah, because it was the figure itself was intact.
No, okay. So I will
this
say
was years ago. It was years ago, mind you. Right now, I could probably get 100 or better for that same figure if I was selling it.
I'm pretty sure. The what was I going to say? The Power Master Optimus Prime I have is actually missing one of his. If you ask me how I lost this, I couldn't tell you. I'm gonna chalk it up to my little brothers. But there is on it, because the Power Master Optimus Prime has the part where he can combine with his trailer. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Right.
And so on his trailer, he has like a, I'm going to say like a ramp. One of his ramp pieces, I don't know how. You don't understand? Like, I was very guarded of this thing. I don't know how one of those pieces got missing, but it's missing. That's the only piece that I'm missing on that thing. Everything else is still in good shape.
Yeah, that's one thing I don't think I have in my stuff. You know what I do have for the Power Master Optimus Prime? I think I've got one of the guns, and because he came with 2 black laser guns.
Yeah,
and then he came with those. They look like sit-down cannon pieces that fit on the trailer.
Yep.
The double-barrel cannons. I have 2 of those.
Yeah.
From all the stuff that I wound up getting.
Hold on. I got them real close.
Oh yeah, the Jeff Ware. Hey, what's going on, Slasher man? Good to see you. Good to see you. Yeah, you always lose extensive
obviously pieces. I got the lights kind of dim, so you can't see all the dust on them. Because it's a lot. I haven't touched these things in a while, so excuse the dust. But if you look, so I have I got both the guns, both the side pieces here, and this is what I was talking about.
Yeah, the fold down ramp in the back.
The fold down ramp in the back. Actually, it's not even showing. So yeah, I'm missing one more piece of it. It's like another piece that folds out. I'm not going to transform it now, but it's one of these pieces on his leg. Again, like I said, ask me how that got missing. Little brothers. That's all I can say.
But it's funny. It's funny. You still got High Q sitting right there in the center of his chest.
Yeah, he's there. He's right there. I still got that. Like, that's the one thing that kept this. I only have 2 Autobots left. I got this one and this one. That's it. These are the only 2 I have that's still in Autobot ready form right here. That's it. Everything else, forget about it. Forget about it. But yeah, that's all. That's the only 2 I got left. I wish I had the Fortress Maximus. Not Fortress Maximus. I'm sorry, Metroplex. I wish I had that one still, but like I said, that one is split right in half. Like, cause he kind of had that swivel body that kind of, you know, because you had to kind of lay him out and everything. And that swivel part on his torso snaps in half. So I have both parts of him, but the swivel part, they're just not connected again. Like I crazy glued them before, but that
I know.
So much.
I know I had a couple of Metroplexes. I had two different versions I have sitting in the back. I have one that's got the plastic tires, and then I got the very first release of them that had the rubber tires.
I can't remember if mine had the rubber. I think I might have had the rubber. I might have.
Because I know that there was like very small, minute changes that they made in the mold when they switched over. So I think sometimes what happened is they got the older molded parts mixed in with the newer parts when they were putting Metroplex out there, and that would cause breakage.
Yeah, I know. Like as a kid, you know, as a kid, we probably thought the same thing. Like, man, why couldn't they make this to fit Optimus Prime in here? But if you think about it, that toy would have had to be probably like 4 feet tall.
Oh, at least. I mean, you know what? I remember when they came out with the mail away. I don't know if you remember seeing that. They had the mail away for like, it was like the Stars membership to be, you know, Transformers fan club, and they actually had like a little mini cardboard base that you could mail away for the Autobots.
Really?
Yeah, and it actually had, you know, the little red. Oh God, what the hell they're called? The little red slips that they gave you for the back of the bios, so you could read their readouts.
Yes!
They had the thing on the inside of this cardboard setup where it actually had one of those red sleeves that you could take the cutout and put it into, so you could read another bot's bios on this little cardboard playset thing.
Yeah, I remember those. It's I miss toys back in the day, man. Those are great stuff back in the day.
That's why, like, when I found all the ones that my dad never threw out, I was just like giggling the whole time. I just couldn't believe, like, he even had some of my old Star Wars stuff when I was a little kid. Like, I found my real old school Imperial blaster, the Stormtrooper blaster. Yeah, that thing was hardcore. Because I remember I got in trouble with Dad a few times, and he hit me over the head with that damn thing, and it hurt.
I bet it did. I bet it did. You know what's the craziest thing? As much as a Star Wars fan I am, I had no Star Wars toys. None. Ask me how that happened. I don't know. But I had 0 Star Wars toys. 0.
Yeah, I had a few, and the only reason I had them homogenized, my dad was huge into sci-fi stuff.
Okay.
So he wanted it really for himself at the time, but I guess he felt too weird. That early on to keep it.
You were his out. You were his out. That's what it was.
I was the excuse to buy it.
Yep. So I got a fun little story for you. So probably around the time I'm going to say, because I was in public school, I want to say maybe like 6 or 7. Probably around that time. So my public school was literally around the corner from my house. So it's literally walking distance from my house. And my big cousin, who was probably about 4 years older than me, she would always take me home. And for whatever reason, she wasn't there one day, right? So I'm like, you know, I'm a little child. I'm crying because nobody's there to pick me up. So one of my good friends at the time, his big brother said, I'll take you home. So he takes me home, right? Literally right around the corner from my school. I get to my house, and nobody's there. Nobody opens the door. So what do you do as a kid? You go see your next door neighbor's house. So I went to my next door neighbor's house, right? And the point I'm bringing with this, my next door neighbor, he had all the Star Wars toys. He had the Millennium Falcon. He had the AT-AT. He was loaded with Star Wars stuff. So I was literally in heaven. I was there just chilling. All the Star Wars stuff you could think of. And what really killed what was the buzzkill is I hear my mother outside crying. I literally heard her outside crying. And this I'm laughing now, but I thought I was in a lot of shit back then. I heard her out there crying thinking I was kidnapped. and I came outside. I'm like, Mom, right here. And she was like
Did you see that? Did you see that, Demongenai? It never fails. The minute we get back and start talking about Star Wars, George Lucas always pops up into the chat.
What's up, George Lucas?
And like, I'm not creative says, thank the maker.
Yes, thank the maker.
No, I remember that. You always had a friend that had everything. I remember I was talking to a few other people. They were talking about, oh, yeah, I had this friend of mine that had the USS Flag. And I was like, yeah, like
What?
that would have
Was that
never
the
happened in my house.
The G.I. Joe aircraft carrier, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like 7.5 feet long. Like,
yeah, that thing was huge, man. Yeah, but I remember that was like a traumatizing / good moment because I literally was able to play with all the G.I. Joe toys and everything. I mean, not G.I. Joe, I mean Star Wars toys. And it was awesome. And like my mom had to go have a bus kill and be outside crying.
did he have some of the play sets too?
I'm trying to remember. No, but he did. Like I said, he had the Millennium Falcon and he had the AT-AT.
Because that was one of the few things. I got a few of the vehicles. My dad had bought a land speeder. He bought Vader's TIE Fighter, regular TIE Fighter, and X-Wing. He would not buy, because he wasn't willing to spend that kind of money. Well, he really didn't have that kind of money to buy the Millennium Falcon or the AT-AT. But he did buy me some of the cheaper play sets. So I wound up getting like the Droid Factory. I got the Cantina, and I got the Jawa landing set. It's one that comes.
Oh, really?
It comes with the escape pod for 3PO and R2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because they had two different versions. They had the playset version that just had a cardboard sand crawler in the back with like a little, like a rope line that you use to pick up droids, and then they had the remote control sand crawler later on.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I missed that. Like I said, as much as I like Star Wars, I did not get any of them. I don't know how I missed that, but I got none of them.
Yeah, that stuff was crazy. There was so much stuff out there. Like I've recently gone through all my stuff that my dad had. I found one of the old school Kenner catalogs for Star Wars.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it showed like even there was an R2-D2 bot bag that I'd literally forgotten all about until I seen it in this little catalog.
Really? You know what's crazy? Speaking about catalogs, you just reminded me. I speaking about the Constructicons back in the day. I remember back when I think it was who was it? It was one of the old retailers like I want to say Sears or one of them, but they had the catalog. My grandmother would get them all the time. And I'm going through the catalog and they had all the toys. They had the Decepticon jets, right? They had them, and then they had. And I remember when they first came out with the Constructicons, I didn't know they were Constructicons. And they had this green guy, which basically was Scavenger. I didn't know who he was at the time. I'm like, what does he transform into? Like, I didn't even know what he transformed into. That's like they had him in robot form, and they didn't show him in his mechanical form. And I was like, what does this guy transform into? I had no idea. And come to find out, he was a Constructicon. He was the bulldozer. But yeah, that was funny when you mentioned the catalogs.
Yeah, I still have all my Transformer catalogs. I even have some of the ones where they were the mail-aways, like the one for Reflector, and there was for the Omnibots and the Power Dashers. Like I have all those catalogs sitting back there for my Transformers still.
I remember I wanted Reflector so bad. Like, man, that's such a cool concept because he was technically like a reverse combiner,
Yeah,
because he transformed to
three robots.
Yeah, unlike the Constructicons, it was three robots turned into one. Robot. It was three robots turned into one. What was the terminology they used for them? I forget the name they used for them. Disguise mode. Basically.
They're disguise mode when they turn to a camera. Yeah, because the other ones, like the Constructicons and everything, they called that their Gestalt mode because it was they turned from a vehicle into a robot and then into a larger robot.
Yeah.
But I mean, they wound up they used that same concept later on and they wound up making like they had the duos, the Decepticon battle duos. So they had Battle Trap and Flywheels, where they were two vehicles that spring loaded, transformed when you put them together into a robot.
Wait a minute. I think I remember those.
Yeah, I think they called them duo bots or duocons.
Yeah.
Duocons is what they call
Yes,
them.
that's right with duocons. Yes. You know, you remember the what was his name? Damn, he was the spy. He was an Autobot triple changer. Not really a triple changer like a regular triple changer, but he was the blue Corvette that kind of turns like he had like a fake jet mode.
Trex.
Yes.
They just recently like in their newer lines they did a version of him, and they did another one that was like I don't remember if it was originally Diaclone colors or originally, because the original version of Trax and Diaclone was a red Corvette. So I don't know if they did it in a comic book or later on, but it was supposed to be a character called Road Rage. So they recently had, this was only like maybe about 6-7 months ago, maybe 8 tops. They had released one at Target, and it was a recoloring of the War for Cybertron trilogy's Trax into Road Rage. They just put them out recently. The only problem with it is they did a terrible job on the legs on this thing. And it is a shame because Hasbro, when they've been doing these newer versions, they've been knocking out of the park, man. Like, you want to talk about figures that look almost like the cartoons, but give you that same, like, the G1 toy look and feel. Some of the new ones they've been releasing have been doing that in spades. Like, I picked up the Earthrise Optimus Prime with his trailer and everything. Thing is gorgeous. It is absolutely gorgeous. Like, you want something that's fairly priced but looks like the cartoon version of Optimus that you remember. That's the version to get, in my opinion. Really?
So, how do you feel about that Netflix show that came out? I actually loved it.
It was good. I didn't like the ending as much. I was a little put off by Kingdom. I felt like it was rushed. I feel like it felt like it was out of space and time, because it really didn't feel like the Earth that they should have landed on.
Is that the one? Like, now you made me think about it, because I don't remember the damn ending. Is that where they kind of like went and they saw like the like they going into like the Beast Wars almost? Is that what they did? Okay, yeah. Just to be fair, I'll be 100% with you guys. I was not a fan of Beast Wars like that. I know a lot of people that's fond memories to people, but I wasn't a fan of it because I just thought that it was like.
It's the same thing, Damaj and I. Because when I grew up, I watched the old G1, and by the time Beast Wars was coming out, I was not a huge fan of it. Number one, because I was working all the time, so I didn't have time to sit down and watch cartoons. But I like my Transformers as turning into vehicles. That's what I was interested in.
Yeah, I wasn't cool with the animal thing. That kind of just it threw me off. It was a bit of a turn off of it. That's all I have to say about that.
Hey, what's up, memes? But yeah, I mean,
hey Lasso, you've been quiet over there, Lasso. Are we talking too much nerdy stuff for you?
No, not at all. I'm actually loving this conversation. I didn't watch Transformers when I was a kid, but I recently just started watching the old cartoon, and I love it. So yeah, I'm enjoying this.
Yeah, I remember. I have I had the anniversary edition of Transformers the movie. I remember I was so mad that I could not go see this movie in the theaters. My mom refused to take me to the theaters to see that movie. I had to wait till it came out on VHS. But I got the DVD anniversary edition. And I will say this. As an adult, when you watch that movie, I was like, damn, did they overuse the transforming sound? Oh, where did we get this come in?
What's up, Slasher?
Hello?
Hey.
Oh, me? Hey, what's up?
What's going on?
How's everybody doing?
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Nice. Damaji, nice to meet you, man.
Yeah, it's Damajanai, but how you doing?
Damaji, nice to meet you.
How you doing?
When I reached out to you one day, that's who I was visiting, Damaj, and I was visiting my buddy Slasher here because he's over He's over in the Bronx. So we were gonna. One day we were heading out to Coney Island.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm about an hour from that, but yeah, I'm close enough.
Well, I think we took the Pan Am route because I remember we went through damn near every single borough on the way to Coney Island somehow.
Oh, damn, that's the long way to do it.
Soul Assassin, is it true that the Soundwave figure can actually play music? No, that is a myth.
No,
the original
that was not.
Soundwave was called Cassette Man, and he was from the Micro Change line when he was brought over. And no, he did not play, but there was an early version of Blaster who was in.
Yes, I was about to say that. Yes,
it wasn't AM FM radio.
Yes, he did. I was just about to say that. Yeah, I was going to say. I think there was a Blaster that did play music. I remember that.
Yeah, I remember all that stuff. Don't ask me why it's that information that my wife says. I wish your brain would rot with all that toy talk stuff. What's up, Gap? So what's going on, Slasher? What do you got to say?
Oh, nothing. Well, I can't really talk too much about Transformers because I know two things about Transformers: Jack and shit. So I mean, I know all the little the shit that everybody else knows. I wasn't a huge Transformers guy. I liked them and all, but when I was a kid collecting stuff, I was kind of busy collecting other things. You get caught up in buying stuff from one line, from one series, and then you kind of just concentrate on that for a little bit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like I was more.
What was your favorite toy?
G.I. Joe. G.I. Joe was my shit.
Oh, G.I. Joe. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, G.I. Joe and Transformers are like first cousins, man.
Yeah.
Hasbro made them both.
Yeah, pretty much. But I even got back into collecting Joes later on in my life. In my adulthood, I started getting Joes off eBay and shit.
Gotcha.
Well, here's a quick one for you, Dimaj, and I don't know if you know about this one. Did you know that there's actually a bigger crossover between G.I. Joe Transformers, Takara, and Hasbro? So yeah, so when the original Joe released, and it was like in the 1960s or whatever. The line was starting to die down a little bit, but Japan was actually in the market for big giant figures. So what had happened is Hasbro and Takara worked out an agreement, and they wound up licensing the original 12-inch G.I. Joe off to Takara. But Takara couldn't sell a G.I. Joe, an American fighting guy, to Japanese kids, considering, their relative proximity to what happened in a war, not that far in the past. So they started making changes in it, and they started putting in superhero outfits and everything like that. And it sold well, okay, at first, but it started tanking. So what they did is they revamped that 12-inch G.I. Joe, and they created what was called the Henshin Cyborg figure. And basically, it was a big, tall figure that was partially translucent plastic with the machine guts, and they wound up shrinking that down to become the Microman figure. And the Microman figure, of course, got shipped back over to the States for Mego, but it was right around that same time that G.I. Joe was looking to see what Takara had done with their original G.I. Joe 12-inch figures, and it wasn't that long afterwards that they wound up coming out with the G.I. Joe that was the exact same size as the Microman figures, the 3 3/4. So, yeah, they sent it over to Takara. The idea came back to Hasbro, who recreated the size format that they were using and created the G.I. Joes. I mean, granted, you could say, well, Star Wars had it. Well, yeah, Takara had Microman out before Star Wars even hit the theaters. So there's a little bit of cross back and forth between those two companies using each other's ideas.
Well, that's the thing too. Like a lot of people, I know it's a little bit of a side note, but you figure a lot of big corporations did, take from each other. Like even like we talk about like with Marvel and DC, everybody in some way, form, or fashion. Oh, well, that works. We got to do that. That's basically what happened. Even though we have like a collaboration and stuff.
Uh-oh. Did his internet cut out? Or did I cut out?
No, I hear you.
I hear
Okay.
you.
Okay, nobody said nothing. I was like, "Uh-oh, did I
No,
cut
I
out?"
hear you. I hear you.
I got scared there. I thought my internet died. I was about to- Don't scare me like that, damn it. I just got this internet fixed. I don't want it dying.
Yeah, that would suck.
Oh, right in the middle. Right in the middle. I hate when that happens because then when you come back, you try to remember, oh shit, where the hell was I?
Oh,
It happened. That's all right. He was here and he hung out for a long time. I mean, if you can get back into Majani, the link should still be in the chat if you want to jump back in again. I mean, if not, thank you for stopping on. I appreciate it. And I know people have been throwing your link out in the chat. Thank you to everybody's been throwing out. I know Bone just put it out again too. Thank you, Bone. Appreciate that stuff. I'm not creative. Who likes comedy shorts involving Bully McGuire? You have Deadpool? What do we got? What's a Deathstroke? Does it look like Deadpool? Okay, print it. Yeah, there was a lot of that stuff that was going on at the time. But yeah, Slasher, go ahead.
What
Man.
was the one with all right, He-Man? What was the one that Black Star? Remember Black Star?
Yeah. Oh God, with that weird sword that just had the point on one side, like it had the little triangle points on one side of it.
And they all came with that same goblin.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, they all came with that same goblin, but they were all in different colors.
They did, if I remember correctly, they did have a short-lived cartoon for that too.
Yeah, there was a cartoon. And they had a castle. You know, they went the whole nine with the He-Man ripoff. Those figures were pretty cool, though.
There was a lot of those figures that were really cool. I mean, some of those franchises, they did terrible jobs promoting their figures, but the figures themselves looked amazing. I mean, you got Silverhawks. Oh God, what was the other one? There was the insectoids or no sectors.
Yeah.
Sectors.
Oh, those were cool.
Amazing looking figures, but the promotion behind them just wasn't there at all.
Those were cool. I like those. Didn't they have weren't those didn't they have like the giant bugs that were mounts? Weren't some of them?
Yes,
puppets?
yeah,
Some of them
because
were
they
puppets,
had
right?
one that looked like a giant tarantula, and it was actually looked like almost fuzzy.
It was
Like,
a pup. There were some that were puppets, though, right? You put your hand.
Yeah,
on
I think the tarantula was a puppet too.
Yeah, those are pretty cool.
Thank you, Soul Assassin. Appreciate that. Guys have been killing it in there. Been killing it. Mods of glory. As soon as I get my damn shirt done for all my mods, I'm going to be mailing it out to people. I've been waiting to try to get this thing colored, but unfortunately, I've run into a snag with my computer lately because of Microsoft and their updates, and now I can't use my photos anymore the way I should. It's just one thing after another. I'm just going to have to plug the new computer in and hope that I can transfer the information over. Shit is so damn annoying. Get one problem solved, and another one rears its ugly head. It's like dealing with a bunch of people in Walmart. The ugly just keeps popping back up. But oh God, is there anything you're looking forward to right now, Slasher? Like shows, figures, anything?
There was a show that I saw a commercial for that looked interesting, especially because Stallone is in it. Fucking 75-year-old Stallone is still doing stuff. It's called Tulsa King. He's like a mobster who just gets out of jail or something, and his crew sends him to Oklahoma. Looks all right.
Yeah, 1 second, Demajani. Actually, you know what? Here, I'll just go throw it right back in the chat again. I don't care. I'm not going to run for too much longer, but yeah, the link's right there. Jump back in. Well, you know what? When I watched that other one, the Rambo Last Blood, I got to say, I didn't think it was bad. I mean, I was really expecting that one to be a stinker, but I didn't think it was horrible. I mean, it was a little slow, but I thought it was good.
I watched it once. I can't remember too much about it.
I don't know what happened just now. I was sitting there talking. I think just went blipped on me.
Yeah.
I know you were right in the middle of a thought, and then it was like bam, and I was
I
like,
told,
oh
and
crap,
I totally
thought my
forgot what I was
internet.
talking about now.
I said that too. I said he's going to come back and he's going to forget what he was talking about because you're in the middle of talking about it and it's gone. Like, well, that's gone.
Oh well, this is what happens with old age.
Yeah.
No, that's what happens.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
That's funny.
So Slasher was just talking about a new movie with Stallone that's going to be coming out.
It's a show, actually. It's a.
Oh,
Oh, it's a show?
I think it's on a fucking what's that? Paramount. I think it's on the
Paramount Plus?
service. Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Almost everything is coming out on streaming now, because when I went to see Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, they got the ruler himself has another movie, his Knives Out sequel.
Namor? Oh yeah, that's right. I saw.
Yeah, I'm like, oh wow, look, you got relegated to Netflix. Ha 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 ha.
See, I never watched it, but I've talked to a few people that claimed that it was pretty good. But then again, some of these same people also told me that Hellraiser was good on Hulu. And to those people that told me Hellraiser was good, you could suck it sideways. I hated that shit.
I didn't watch that.
So I didn't watch it either, but I will agree with you, Tommy. I heard the same thing about Knives Out, but guess what? Here's what I said, and I will continue to say this. I don't care if Ryan Johnson gets, makes the movie of all movies, and it gets every award that exists under the sun. I refuse to watch the movie. I won't even bootleg it, because of what he did to Star Wars. He's dead to me. That's how I feel about it.
No, I definitely hear you, and that's the same thing I heard. Like, I heard somebody was trying to say, oh, it's kind of like they took some of the ideas from the original Clue, and you liked Clue, you might like this. I said, no, I don't think so, because I don't like him, and it's the same reason why I boycott Disney and anything that they do, because I can't stand them. So I know I will not enjoy it, and I won't watch it.
Yeah, but that, like I said, I saw that preview in the theater for Knives Out Part 2. Well, I don't know what they call it, but it's a Knives Out Part 2 thing, but whatever. I'm like, I guess he does great with his own movies, but that's the thing, and I hate to sidetrack what y'all were talking about, but it's one thing if you're working on your own property, you can be as divisive as you want, right? Do whatever you want with your own property. When you're going into something that has its own built-in audience, and for you to come in and say, oh, I'm going to change it because of modern sensibilities, or whatever you call yourself, doing whatever the hell crack you smoking. That's not what made this thing. Listen, I say this all the time. It's you, me, and everybody on this panel who made Star Wars worth $4.5 billion. We made it worth that. It wasn't George Lucas who made it that. Sure, he made the idea, but if nobody bought his idea, he would never went past 1977. But being the fact that you had people like you, me, and everybody else who made Star Wars worth that money, and they disrespected us. Again, it's not toxic fans. When I work in retail, I don't just call a customer a toxic customer. No, you are a paying customer. When you got your paying customer telling you, hey, this isn't right, this is what Star Wars should be, and you go ahead and do it anyway and just say, oh, by the way, you are an Istophobe if you don't like this. Yeah, go F yourself. How about that?
That's exactly what a lot of us have been saying, and I couldn't agree anymore. It's the passion of the fans that is the thing that kept these franchises either, going when they're, because everybody remembers there was a big lulls after freaking the Return of the Jedi. There was a huge lull with Star Wars, and if it wasn't for the passion of the fans buying the products, buying the books, the comic books, and everything else that kept Star Wars alive and kept it in people's mouths, I mean, would Lucas have even gone back and make the prequels? I kind of doubt it, but there was enough passion there from these fans that wanted to see more, that they were hungry for more of the stories that hated to tell. And then you had these people like Ryan Johnson, J.J. Abrams, Kathleen Kennedy, and even Feige to a degree. And I know some people are like, oh, well, Kevin Feige, this, Kevin, you know, Kevin Feige doesn't know what he's doing. Okay, Feige is lost. He's bullshit around. He's basically said that he's going to do whatever he wants to do, and he's bringing in people that just want to help destroy those type of you know, as some people put it, modern mythologies. You know what? They don't care. Many of them were never fans of these properties to begin with, and the few that
it's
were,
just a job for them. It's just
exactly just a job. And the few that are fans, unfortunately, they still have to answer to somebody else. And in Disney, that's the board of directors. They have to listen to the board of directors, and they're the ones that are going to say, hey, you need to put this, this, and this into the movie, make it happen.
I just saw it, you know, just seeing what they did to fucking Namor and that new.
Oh my God!
Jesus Christ! Way to ruin
that's
one
not
of the.
Namor. That's not
way to
Namor.
ruin one of the OG Marvel characters, everybody. Way to ruin it.
And I said this before, and I want to say it here. Victoria Alonso is the Kathleen Kennedy of Marvel, and she's going to destroy it. I'm telling you right now, because just think about this here. In that movie, they name dropped the word mutants. Mutant has now been said out loud, right? It's been said out loud as a thing in Wakanda forever. If you think for a second that this woman is not going to F, and when I say F, I mean F up the X-Men, I got news for you. I got news for you. She's going to F up the X-Men. I'm telling you right now. There is no way she's not going to F up the X-Men. And I know a lot of people were hyped about the whole concept of the possibility of Giancarlo Esposito being Professor X or Magneto, whatever, whichever one they want to do. Listen, no. Professor X and Magneto are white men. One's Jewish, and one's a regular white dude, right? If you change that, you've changed X-Men. The fact that Magneto is a Holocaust survivor is important. Now, I know that is a retcon. But that retcon is what really solidified Magneto's purpose, is the fact that he is a Holocaust survivor. And if they change that, there's no way you could change that and make him black. No way. There's no way. I don't care how you flip it. How are you going to flip that?
That's the thing, though. They don't want to pay attention to what was already there. And that's the biggest problem with a lot of these people, because they're not coming in trying to do service to these franchises. All they want to do is push their stupid agendas. And you know what? And there's a way. I mean, there's a way to have like natural diversity in movies. And nobody's saying that they don't want to see natural diversity in movies. But the minute you start forcing it in, and especially when you start changing characters that everybody has grown up watching and loving, that's when you're going to push your target audience away. Whether you realize that's your target audience or not, those are the people that are giving you the money. They're the ones that are going out to the stores, buying all the merchandise. They're the ones that are making these franchises a success. And the minute you turn your back on them, that's when you will wind up suffering their wrath.
Oh, absolutely. It's not just necessarily a Marvel. It's a Disney problem. But that's the same thing that they did with Star Wars. And like I said, like you said, if you've read, watched anything with the EU, and they expect you to unread that, that's the problem. That's the fundamental flaw. They want you to forget. Remember, there was nothing. I mean, obviously you had from Return of the Jedi to the prequels. What was that? 20 years? Was that 20 years?
Hey, we got the Ewok TV movie.
Yeah, we don't talk about that. We don't talk about that.
and the cartoons.
Yeah, I know. We don't talk about that either.
And droids.
And you had the holiday special too. We don't talk about that either. But for the most part, as far as like serious Star Wars, you had from 1983 to 99?
99.
Was it 99 or was it 97 when they started?
It was 90. It was 99. The only reason I remember it because it came out just prior to my daughter being born in 2000.
Okay, yeah, all right. Well, you know what? You're correct. I should think about this. My goddaughter was born in 99 too. I'm tripping. You're right. It was 99 because which is funny. Speaking of little girls, my goddaughter, like I basically raised her. She was the only kid. Like remember how I said, I'm like the Star Wars guy, and like I'm the one who kind of like gets my family involved. My goddaughter, she literally sat down and watched. And when you talk about a 2.5-year-old, a toddler, she sat down and watched as if she was like, fully immersed. She watched episode 1 with Phantom Menace. Didn't get up to pee. Didn't do it. Didn't ask for a bottle. Nothing. Watched the whole thing. I was shocked. But yeah, so you figure from 83 to 99, there was no Star Wars movies. And guess who kept that alive? It was us. The EU books, all that stuff. That's what kept it alive.
I mean, I remember when they first talked about that they were releasing Knights of the Old Republic on consoles. The buzz that was around that. And then they did, what was it after that? It was like Star Wars Galaxy, which was kind of like an early MMO type game.
Mm-hmm.
And then later on when they released the Old Republic as an MMORPG, like all those games created tremendous buzz because of all the fans that were just hungry for Star Wars. And it damn sure wasn't the stuff that Disney put out, because if Disney was doing such a great job with all these things, then why are there still toys sitting on the shelves that wind up going into discount bins? The only thing that they got right is they listened to Hasbro when they said, let us make more old school stuff. And right now, and I still won't touch it because I know money's going to Disney. And it pisses me off because some of the ones that they're releasing from the EU books, like they're doing Mara Jade, they did the Green Rabbit Jackson that was in the original Marvel comics. They released him. And I was like, holy shit, I remember that because I have all those comics that I brought back from my dad's house with him on it. I was like, holy shit, that looks really cool. I would love to get it, but I'm not giving Disney a dime. But I mean, if they would have came out with that years ago before Disney really started destroying this franchise, I would have definitely snagged those things.
That's why I don't want to get any of the new Marvel figures, because I'm going to be putting money in Disney's fucking pocket.
Yeah, CJ, you know what? It's still the idea behind it that somewhere down the line or somewhere before it got to me, that Disney got money for it. It's still that for me, and it's still, it irritates me. I get really stuck on that stuff. Yeah. Their stock is in the tank, and that's exactly why Bob Cheat Check is firing
Bob
people.
Cheapskate. Bob Cheapskate.
Cheapskate. 2002 was Attack Clones, and 2005 was Sith.
There it is. Now I remember. Yeah, because you know what's funny? My goddaughter, she watched Phantom Menace with me, right? And then for her birthday, because her birthday was in May, which is right about the time, because that was the real Star Wars Day, was in May, right? When they actually released Star Wars, like when George was releasing, he released them in May, not in December. And I gave her for her 3rd birthday, I gave her her own lightsaber, and I didn't give her a master replica or nothing, but I gave her like one of the regular plastic ones. It was funny, the day that I gave it to her, as I was giving it to her, the commercial, the advertisement for episode 2 came on, literally as I handed her the lightsaber. And she's like, and like this little kid just knew exactly what to do. And she's making the sounds and everything when I'm like, this kid.
And I tell you what, the toys that they have for the modern fans of some of these franchises are truly spectacular. I mean, that started right around the mid 90s when they really started going crazy. I mean, when I was a kid and Star Wars came out, some of the toys that they had they had their early version of a lightsaber. It was almost like a giant wiffle ball bat, except, but in a stick version, it just had holes in it. So it made this weird woo, woo, woo sound when you swished it through the air. It was so weird. It was so weird. The closest thing that they had to really cool electronics and anything was like the Star Wars Imperial Blaster that I mentioned earlier. But even that, it had this weird little like spinny It was yellow and black insert. So when you pulled the trigger, this thing spun to make it look like the barrel was firing up. It looked really weird. It almost looked like a weird barber pole spinning on the inside of the gun barrel, and it just made sounds. But like the newer ones, like they actually light up and everything like that. I mean, the toys have become amazing. But once again, they disenfranchised so many of the original fans that even they have a hard time buying this stuff now.
Yeah. I will say that I am a fan of Ultra Sabers. I have my own custom Ultra Saber that I spent entirely too much money on, but that's when I was in a different position at a different company. So I had the disposable income. I paid like $450 for a lightsaber pike. That thing is freaking awesome, and I want to get me another one. maybe when I get this next promotion.
Yeah, some of those things are expensive. I managed to pick up a few like relatively cheap. And, you know, for those people that want to get into the lightsaber collecting, don't discount some of the cheaper ones, because I bought some of the cheaper ones and they hold up. I've done videos when I used to do, you remember back in the day, I used to do the lightsaber theory videos, Maj and I?
I did not.
It was a while ago. I know Lord Callis had caught a couple of them when I was doing them. And I took some of these cheaper sabers. Me and my daughter went outside, and I mean, we were literally barbarian swinging, smashing these things together. Out of the 6 or 7 I had at the time, only one had the blade break, and that was it. It was just that polycarbonate tubing blade break.
Really?
All the other ones were absolutely fine. All the electronics still work. Everything held up.
Well, that's good. So
and a few of these were probably. God, they were probably like a $60 or $70 sabers at the most, and they held up.
So I had 4 sabers at one time, and I gave my niece one of my Force replica ones for her birthday, because I was torn. I wanted to give her something really nice. So I said, do I go out and buy her a brand new one, or do I buy me a brand new one and give her my old one? So that's what I did, because I didn't want to because she was still relatively young, but I wanted her to have a real nice lightsaber. So I gave her my Luke / Anakin blue blade one, and I have the Darth Maul double bladed red one, which is what you see in my avatar, and I have a green custom one. That one's an Ultra Saber one, and what I want to get me one that's which is going to be a bit of a deep cut for my EU fans. I want a double-bladed blue saber, but I want it to be the size, which is I'm probably going to have to get 2 Shunto style ones and put the blades together, because you kind of mess around with that with Ultra Sabers. But the reason I want to do that, because that particular blade, that particular style of blade, was Exar Kun's blade, who was one of the first Sith Lords to use the double-bladed lightsaber, but it was the size. It wasn't the size of a staff. It was the size of a regular lightsaber, but it was double-bladed. So that's what I want to get next.
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, his hilt was extra small too.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. That's why I want to. Yeah. That's why I want to do that, because I want it to be. So I probably have to get 2, because I know they make the child size ones. So I'm probably going to do is get the child size one, put 2 of those together, and get a Shunto blade, because you can get the 2-foot blade. And I think if you put 2 2-foots plus the hilts and pommel together, will probably equate to about the size of what his blade was. So that's what I want to do next.
You know what's really a shame, because they have one that's called it's sold by a few different companies. One's called the Kyojin Little Giant. Ultra Sabers has under another name. I think it's called the it used to be called like the Initiate or the Apprentice Saber.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's made by a different company, and I'm blanking on the name of the company right now, but they make this saber.
Is it Saberforge? Saberforge?
Well, Saberforge, they sell their version of it too, but no, this company is straight over from China, and they make these cheap ass sabers, and I'm blanking on the name of them. I talked about it in a video a while. I have one of them sitting in the back, but these handles are extremely, extremely short on these. So if there was a way to get them with a connector in the middle, that would probably be the perfect size for an Exar Kun double.
Yeah, so that's exactly what I want, because I don't think, aside from, people like me and you, who probably into the EU and stuff, most people won't get that if they see it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's the reason why I want my saber to be like that.
Oh yeah, the Laserdisc version, CJH. Yeah, my one buddy that I've known since I was like, 11, 12 years old. He used to have that Laserdisc, and he stupidly sold it a few years back, and now he's been regretting it ever since, because that thing was beautiful.
Which Laserdisc was that? I couldn't see
the Laserdisc when they did. Well, he had the original version of Star Wars before it got labeled New Hope.
Oh,
he
okay.
had that on Laserdisc, and but he's talking about the CGI special edition of the '97.
So I got a gift. Big shouts to my brother 19K Fox. He sent me a despecialized edition, which I have not opened because it's like a collector's item for me. A despecialized edition of the in 4K of the original trilogy. So I essentially have what he's talking about, but in 4K, which
nice.
Like I said, I don't want to open it up because to me that's like gold.
Well, I know for a while there that those guys that were doing this despecialized versions, that they were getting in a lot of trouble with Disney over that shit, even though Disney doesn't own the rights to that. That's one thing a lot of people forget about. They're like, oh, well, Disney owns the rights. Well, Disney owns the rights to everything that was re-released, all the special editions and everything of Star Wars. They do not have the rights to the original Star Wars.
Yeah.
The original Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi, as they were originally released in theaters, Disney does not have rights to any of them.
Mm-hmm. And the one thing a lot of people may or may not know is that, you know, when George was in charge, he was like, have at it with the fan films. Like he says, as long as you're not making money off of it, you know, off of my stuff, go to town. And you know what brings me, you know, soon as like you know, something like Star Wars Theory. I mean, he played by the rules and they still claimed him, even though they took it back. You know what I'm saying? But it's just the point that, you know, you got this major, you know, worldwide conglomerate. They don't know how to handle, you know, grassroots fandom. They don't. They just don't. When Star Wars was under George and George alone, that's basically like a mom and pop when you think about it. You know, think a mom and pop shop. Sure, he was a multi-millionaire, but it was still essentially just his thing. You know, when it became a corporate thing, Star Wars became soulless at a point. You know, that's what it felt like to me. It became a little soulless once the corporation bought it.
It was so sad the day that I heard that he was selling that off to Disney. I was like, oh, God, this is going to be terrible.
Me too.
I mean, I had that feeling from the jump.
Yep.
And it's such a shame that his kids didn't want to have nothing to do with it early on, because just imagine, like, if he could have kept it in-house and waited for his kids to have interest and start picking up the mantle and doing it. We would have got the stories that we would have deserved. We would have got basically the Heir to the Empire series.
That's what I wanted.
We would have got.
Listen, I would have been perfectly fine if they would have just said, hey, if you want to see what happened for the past 30 years, here are these books. But we're going to start right here, right after Abeloth, and you kick off the series with Jaina, Alana, Tenukai, Leia, and Han. Obviously, Mara Jade would be dead at this point. So would Jason. But, you know, so what? You got all the books to tell us all those stories. And then just go from there. That's all they had to do. I would have been perfectly fine if they would have did that. But nope, that's not what we got.
Yeah, George didn't. He didn't really. I don't think he didn't need the money.
No, he didn't. The you know, like you say, if his kids would have wanted something to do with this, which, man, if George Lucas was my dad, I'd be like, yo, Dad, you're not effing selling this shit, okay? I would have told him, look, if you don't want to do any more Star Wars, fine. Don't do any more Star Wars. But what you're going to do is not sell us. What you're going to do is be a CEO, hire directors, and you tell them, this is the story I want, and you tell them to put it together. That's it. That's all he had to do. You know, that's all he didn't have to go ahead and just sit and be in the trenches anymore. He could just be like, look, I'm the CEO and head of Lucasfilm Ltd. I want to get the best director, right? And I'm going to say, look, this is my storyline. There's no writing. All I want you to do is take what I made and translate that to film. That's it. Here's a couple $1 million. You do that. Go. That's all he had to do.
Well, I think the biggest problem. I think the biggest problem for George, and I'd like Lasso and Slasher to weigh in this too. But my original thoughts is he knew that even if he brought somebody else in to do it, he knows because it was his baby, and he has said that numerous times that he would have wound up looking in anyway and gotten more involved than he wanted to. What do you think, Lasso?
Yeah, that's basically what he said, almost like word for word. He couldn't. He if he was in it at all, he was going to be in it totally, and he didn't want to do that anymore.
Slasher, thoughts?
You know me, Star Wars talk drains the life out of me. Too much Star Wars talk is kind of it's a little exhausting. So I can't really say much.
These are the kind of conversations that somebody we used to know would have loved, though.
Yeah, he definitely
he loved that stuff. But I think maybe at some point, at least this is what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that Disney just drives everything so far into the ground that they have to start selling off properties. And I pray that Star Wars is one of the ones that gets sold off.
Not going to happen.
It's not going to happen anytime soon, bro.
No,
that I can tell you.
I would love to see it happen, though.
I would love to, too. I would love for, I don't know, maybe Universal?
I'd love to ride a unicorn, but it's not going to happen.
I don't know. There's a lot of things going on with biomedical engineering, Lasso. It's possible that you could wind up riding a unicorn.
You might ride a unicorn before Disney sells Star Wars. How about that?
Yeah, that's believable.
I tell you what, if you go to California, I guarantee there's somebody that identifies as a unicorn that you could ride.
Okay, I'm okay with that.
Wow.
Not that kind of unicorn.
Wow. That was a good one. But yeah, listen, I know they're probably never going to sell that thing, at least not in my lifetime. I'm probably never going to see that happen. But if they ever do it, maybe my goddaughter's son will probably see it. So, but it won't be in my lifetime.
I'll tell you what, though, dream big, and you never give up hope that these companies are going to get exactly what's coming to them. I don't. I keep dreaming that it's going to happen one day, and I want to see it happen. I don't care what happens. I want to roast marshmallows on Disney's ashes. That is my end game right there. Goes into public domain. I'm telling you, man. God, I hate that company. Like that. My wife had season passes and everything, and she was like, "Oh, do you want to go up there?" And I was like, "Nope." I was like, I'm gonna stay right here.
Like, nope.
Go up there and go have all the fun you want. I don't want to know nothing about it. Don't send me pictures. You know, if you're at the hotel, you can send me a text. No pictures. I don't want to hear it.
So I'll tell you a fun story. So when I was about, I think I had to probably be about. And my little sister was born, so she was about a toddler at that point. And we went to Disney World, and it was me, my mom, and my sister. And I got lost in Disney World. I remember it was in one of those little souvenir centers, and my mom was in front of me with my little sister in the stroller, and I was sitting there watching. I'm looking at them right out of the side of my eye. And I got distracted by like one of those little Mickey Mouse like souvenirs they had in there. So I'm looking at the thing, and I'm still keeping out of the side of my eye. I'm looking at my mom and my sister. And then when I go to them, it wasn't my mom and my sister. It was somebody else. So of course, I'm like this little kid in the middle of a store crying. I can't find my mom. And ever since that day, I hated Disney.
Oh, man. Your mother must have been so scared.
Oh, yeah. That was actually worse than the time that when I was, well, actually, I'm lying. Because I think that the time when I got at my neighbor's house was worse because my mom was like literally outside in like the middle of Brooklyn, like screaming and crying. And then like when I was at Disney World, she kind of kept it cool because like what I did was like I went outside and like me being, my mom said if you ever get lost, you always just double back where you were, see if you can find me. So that's what I did. I was upset, but I doubled back, and then when I went back inside, I walked around and I saw where she was at, and then it was kind of squashed. So it wasn't like that one time my mom thought I was literally kidnapped, because at least she was like, which by the way, boys and girls, make sure you keep an eye on your kids when you're in Disney World, because that's a hub. I'm just saying, be very careful with your kids, especially when there's a lot of kids in a big giant place. But yeah, it wasn't as bad then because, like I said, I doubled back and it was a relatively quick fix. But when she thought I was lost, like actually kidnapped from school, that was bad because she didn't know where I was at. You know what I'm saying? So I think that one was worse. But yeah, those are two traumatizing. I'm literally giving you my trauma therapy on screen right now.
But man, aside from that, I mean, there's so many things I would like to see happen. There's so many shows that, and you know what I find sad? I've been having more fun with a lot of these newer releases that I've been seeing that are being done by like Korean companies and shit like that. I've been having more fun watching their stuff than I have been watching some of the mainstream stuff that's been coming out.
I've been hearing a lot of good stuff about their stuff too. Have you watched like Triple R or something like that?
Triple R, no.
Yeah, it's like RRR, something like that. I keep hearing good things about that.
Well, I finally, after a while not watching, I finally watched Squid Game. And
okay, how was that?
I was impressed with how well that was done. I thought it was very well done for what it was.
I'm gonna have to check that out. I might do that because I keep hearing good things about that. I might have to check that out.
Well, I am extremely finicky about certain movies. Like I didn't like the Hellraiser. I finally, after somebody prompted me to watch Halloween Kills, I finally watched that, and I hated the holy hell out of that too. Squid Game, I was very skeptical about, but I finally did watch it, and yeah, I thought it was really good. So if you decide to watch it and you don't like it, be sure to let me know. Like, Tommy, that fucking thing sucked. I don't mind it. I can take it. But I'm just saying, what I seen, I thought it was pretty good. And there's been a few releases here and there. Like I was watching a live action version. They have a Full Metal Alchemist. While it didn't follow the cartoon or the manga exactly, it was close enough for most of it that I was able to follow it, and I still enjoyed it for what it was. It wasn't perfect, but I thought it was pretty well done.
Well, Full Metal Alchemist is something it's really tough to translate to live action like that. I mean, especially like if you do. So you had the Full Metal Alchemist, you had Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. I watched both of them, and they're like really like I forget what was the reason why they did that. Do you remember why they did that? Was it because the rights or something? I don't know, but there's two versions of Full Metal Alchemist, and I watched both. I enjoyed them both, even though they get to a certain point and then they kind of like diverge a little bit, like they go to different ways. But for the most part, it's the same story. But that's a tough one to make it to live action, if you ask me.
Yeah, and like I said, I think they did a fairly decent job on it. Like I was able to follow all the characters. You know how sometimes you get these live actions and you can't follow the characters at all from the original version. I was able to follow who most of these characters were. When they popped up on screen, I was like, oh, that's Scar. Oh shit. There goes Lust, or there's Envy. You know, like I was able to tell right away who they were. Like especially with Gluttony, I was like, damn, they did Gluttony good in the live action version. It looked almost exactly like you would imagine that he would look from the anime version.
You know, it's a shame. Speaking of live action versions, what is an absolute atrocity was freaking Death Note, which is one of the best animes I've ever seen. And when they did that live action, it was so bad, but the only thing they got right was freaking the Shinigami. That was like the only thing they got right. Because I think it was who played him? Damn it. Green Goblin. Why am I drawing a blank on his name?
Willem Dafoe?
Yes, he played the Shinigami. He did a damn good job as it.
Now, I know my daughter was a huge fan of Death Note, and she was telling me the same thing. Like they just like butchered the original story, is the way she was putting it.
Absolute. Like when you want to talk about cold trash, it was cold trash. It was. I don't know what that somebody was smoking some crack. Like you can put that Rick James up there. Cocaine is a hell of a drug. They was.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
that's what they was doing some serious shit when they put that movie together. I don't know what they was thinking.
They Americanized it. That
Yeah,
might be a good way of putting it. Now, CGH was talking about Kevin Smith. He says, say what you will about Kevin Smith. Clerks 3 was half decent. Really sad, but good. You know what? A lot of people said that the oh God, what the hell was that? The Jay and Silent Bob reboot.
I couldn't finish it.
I watched it and I just thought it was mediocre at best. Like I bought it because when I was up there cleaning my father's house, it wasn't like I had a lot of access at the time to a lot of different streaming services, which I wound up getting HBO when I was up there to watch Godzilla and everything. But I wound up just picking up a cheap copy on DVD and watched it, and I was kind of like sad that I had bought it.
How did you feel about Godzilla versus Kong?
I liked it. I thought it was really good. I thought it could have used a few less people shots.
Yes.
But other than that, I thought it was a big improvement over King of the Monsters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the story with the girl was getting a little tired. The girl running around. I mean, of course, in movies like that, we always got to have the human interaction and shit like that.
Yeah, well, they don't know how to do the
too much.
They don't know how to do the kaiju properly, because that's the problem with especially when we were just talking about Americanizing things. When they get to the point where they want to, put the Western feel on things, the problem that they don't understand, and I don't know if it's just like, sheer hubris or just stupidity, is the fact that people like it the way that it is for that reason. The instant that you change it, it is no longer the way that it is that people liked it for that reason. It's not people being toxic, it's not people being ish, not people being full. It's just that we liked it the way it was for that reason. So when I see a Final Fantasy remake, and you can call me a freaking misogynist if you want, but when you reduce Tifa's boobs because of American sensibilities, you pissed me off. There's no reason for that.
Well, that'd be like making a Kingpin. Somebody is standing for Kingpin, and if you make somebody it's like skinny, it makes no sense to the character. Have somebody that plays the character and looks like the character. That's what we want.
Yeah, but they still never got a big fat guy to play a Kingpin.
But I think they came close. Like okay,
with,
you know what?
Vincent D'Onofrio was great. Yeah, he was great.
He's still not Kingpin fat. He's not Kingpin fat.
Well, the thing about Kingpin too, he's not fat. He's 300 pounds of solid
muscle. He's like he's
like one of those.
He's like Vader.
The strongman. Well, no, he's like the strongman competitor guys, like Mark Henry. Because Mark Henry legitimately competed.
You know who would have been like a good body type for him? Vader. Big Van Vader would have been a great body type for someone to play Kingpin.
I still say to this day, since we talk about superheroes, I still say that if this guy was a better actor, or if he could act in his role, I still say Brock Lesnar would have been the perfect Eddie Brock. I don't care what anybody says. He would have been perfect. Chef's kiss Eddie Brock. He had the haircut like him.
Even the same haircut. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, that was Eddie Brock. I'm like, dude, if this dude was like a freaking actor like that, he would have been the perfect Eddie Brock, man. Come on.
He even has the attitude of Eddie Brock to a degree.
Yeah.
Gap Stargate be well, and I know that I'm Not Creative said that he was going to go eat dinner. Thank you for stopping in. Have a good one.
Have a good one. But yeah,
The actor played Kingpin in the Ben Affleck. He definitely had the size and everything for it.
He wasn't fat.
I don't know if the
that was oh my god, right on
Michael Clark Duncan.
Michael Clark Duncan. Yeah, yep.
Yeah, because he was in the Green Mile. I loved him in the Green Mile.
Yeah, he was fantastic. You know that movie. When I see movies like that, because I'm like, damn. Even though it was a fictional movie, but like I could. That's the type of shit that happened back then too. that type of story would have happened for real.
I still think Jason Momoa would have been better as Lobo than fucking Aquaman.
A lot of people have been saying that.
What an awful choice for Aquaman.
Well, a lot of ladies liked it. That's why I made $1 billion.
You know what? I got to say, I watched Aquaman, and well, I didn't think it was great. I didn't hate it. I did not hate it.
No, I liked it. I liked it too.
Yeah, it was a great movie.
I know a lot of. Oh, I'm sorry, Lasso.
Oh, that's okay. I was just saying, yeah, it was a great movie. I just don't think that he was the right person for it.
Yeah,
I think they could have did some things to make it a little bit more, comic fan friendly. Like, lightening up his hair would have went a long way to doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they could have gave him blonde hair.
Yeah, they gave him They gave him like streaks, like blonde streaks.
They could have did that to kind of like match his mom because, oh my God, why did I just go break on her name?
Nicole Kidman.
Nicole Kidman. I'm all over with the names today. Yeah, she got like the reddish blonde hair, so if she really had like some streaks in the hair, that'd have been cool.
Yeah, Momoa as Conan might have been good, maybe, but yeah, that script was terrible.
I've never seen that one.
With the new
don't
Conan?
Waste your time.
Nah, I wouldn't. I do. Like, to me, Conan is freaking Schwarzenegger. I don't care what anybody says.
Amber Turd ruined that film.
Hey, listen, look, listen. Put all her stuff aside. She is easier in the eyes, especially with that red hair. I'm sorry. I got a little weakness for the red hair. I'm sorry. Sorry, not sorry. She's not bad to look at. She's not bad to look at. I just wouldn't sleep with her. That's going into a can of worms there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what you gonna wake up to in the bed?
Well, that's what I said. I wouldn't sleep with her. That's what I just said. I wouldn't sleep with her. She's good to look at. But knowing what I know now, you don't sleep with her.
After spending a night with her, you'll be checking your Amazon list to make sure you didn't order a shit slip and slide. Just
make sure she goes to sleep wearing some Depends.
Have your poopery sitting right next to the bed just
Poopery.
in case.
Oh my God, I haven't heard that in a long time. Poopery.
Yeah, Nelson's still going. I'm going to be wrapping up soon. We've been going for 2 hours and almost 45 minutes. Holy shit. When you're having a fun conversation, you never know how long it's going to last, though. I mean,
it felt like 15 minutes to me.
Thanks for jumping in, too, man.
Thanks for having me on, man. I've been meaning to hang out with you, but every time I'm working, but this is one day I'm off work, so I'm like, let me just hop on with my buddy here.
Yeah, it just lucked out there, and it was a little bit weird because usually I would run around the 6 o'clock range, and I'm going to start running a little bit earlier, just because I never know who might be able to pop in if I run it a little bit earlier. So I did that. So I mean, it's definitely been a lot of fun, and thank you so much for hanging out. Lasso, of course, jumped in right from the beginning. Thank you so much, Lasso. It's always a pleasure to have you on, and of course, Slasher. Thanks for stopping in. And you didn't have a chance to say much since we were talking so much about Star Wars. I mean, is there anything you want to talk about? Anything you want to talk about before we get ready to go into wrap-ups?
Nah, not really.
Really.
Well, when we get to the wrap-up, you're gonna have to tell them about what the next.
Oh yeah, what's coming up? Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
Okay. So we got a little thing here we do on the outro. So we're gonna start off with my favorite.
You know me, but I don't remember smelling you before. Who are you and where do you come from?
That's funny. What movie is that from? Is that from The Hobbit?
That's from The Hobbit from 70.
Okay.
Was that 77?
I didn't know it for sure, but it kind of had the animation. I remember. Yeah. So my name is Damajani, Dmaji, and I am 1/7 of the Dark Council. That is including the super producer, the lady beautiful Lorena Creole, myself, Abu Nas, Drunk 3PO, Lord Callus, Fatal J, Mark with the C, and we're working every Wednesday, 8:30-ish p.m. But we are actually on a hiatus this week because of the holiday. Everybody's going out to see family. So we will be back, I believe, the first week of December. And other than that, I do pop culture commentary. Every now and then I do some sprinkles of current events topics in politics. I try not to be too heavy on it, but the problem is that we have politics. I mean, culture goes into politics, and being that pop culture is all together, it kind of runs into it. It kind of does. But yeah, that's what I basically do. You know, I do a show Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Well, like I said, Wednesday is the Dark Council. Saturdays and Sundays I do live streams. And yeah, I appreciate you having me on, and rock on.
Thank you so much, man. Always a pleasure, and especially when I never had a chance to get you on here before too, because the stars never aligned. But here we are, man. Thank you so much for jumping in. I really do appreciate it, man. Awesome discussion we were having too. It's always nice to be able to go back into those discussions. Oh, I'm sorry.
What's that? Oh yeah, same here, man.
Yeah, nice meeting you.
Yeah,
but
definitely. Nice meeting you.
Now we're going to move over to our next victim.
This must be where they sacrifice virgins.
Oh, Tommy, I'm gonna kill you. Well, it was great streaming with you guys. This was a lot of fun. I really did love all the Transformer talk. Like I said, I didn't get into it as a kid, but I'm getting into it now. So that was awesome to listen to. But yeah, I have a channel and I do toy reviews, and my channel is Lasso of Truth. Other than that, you can find me on various streams here and there, mostly Tommy and me. And yeah, and on Twitter at the Lasso of Truth with a 0 in of. And yeah, that's about it. I hope everybody has a good night.
What was your last toy videos? It let people know what you got as your last video.
The last one I put up was the 40th anniversary She-Ra.
Nice.
There you go. And that one looks absolutely spectacular. I know I'd seen it in the store previous to Lasso picking up, and I was like, yeah, this thing looks amazing. The Hordak figure that they have that goes along with her, you know, technically as part of that same line, that one looks amazing too. And then of course the He-Man. I picked up the He-Man figure. I'm still looking for the Skeletor, but the He-Man, another one, they just knocked it right out of the park. Those figures are absolutely amazing, and that's exactly what the fans deserve. So, guys, if you haven't, make sure you subscribe to Lasso and check out some of her commentary, especially when she talks about figures.
Horror.
There it is. I don't know why it sounds so funny, and I always got to keep going back to it, but that's hilarious. So, so Slasher, let's see, what do we got for Slasher today?
Very interesting. I see your hobbies are drinking, smoking weed, and all types of ill shit.
Oh yeah, he pretty much summed it up right there. Have a good one, everyone. No, I'm just kidding. So later on in the week, Tommy and Darius Munchausen will be joining me, and we're going to be talking about a cult classic. We're going to be talking about Sleepaway Camp from 1983.
Nice. Awesome.
Best ending in a horror movie ever.
Oh yeah.
Yes, that ending is something else.
So yeah, looking forward to that. And yeah, that's me.
Awesome.
Always a pleasure, Slasher. Always a pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you for being in as always. Hey man, you know you're always invited here. Same with Lasso and so many other people. And anybody else that wants to stop in. If at any point, if somebody's in the chat and you say, hey, I want to jump up, just let me know. I will throw you a link. I'm not snobbish about it at all. I don't care who comes on. The only thing I want to have is a good conversation. I want to have some fun. So if you want to come up and do that, great. But if you're one of those troll people, I will let you come up on the panel, talk about 2 seconds of shit, and then I'm going to permanently delete you from my channel. Then I'll send the guinea pigs after you on Twitter.
It's funny you mentioned the He-Man, and that was a story that I forgot to mention. I remember I was probably about 9 or 10, and I had to get surgery on my eye. And when I woke up, my mom, when I came out of the operating room, she had a freaking He-Man and Battle Cat toy for me.
Oh, awesome!
And I was like, that was freaking awesome. I couldn't even open my eyes because when you get surgery, you can't open your eyes. So, and I was able to open my eyes up for a few minutes. Like, this is freaking awesome. That was freaking awesome. I had that. But that reminded me of that when you said that. So, but yeah, that was
very cool.
Yeah, anytime, CJ. Just let me know when you're ready. Like I said, I don't tell anybody they can't be on. Like I said, there's only been a few dicks that I've blocked off the channel, and that's because that's all they were was dickheads. And I just don't tolerate those people. They come on the channel.
I don't even see why people do stuff like that, man. That's just
they can't help themselves sometimes, though.
Like, if you're not interested, why are you even here? Like, dude, like, you can always skip the channel if you're not a fan. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly. They can go somewhere else. They get me mad, and then I've got to do this to them.
I'm gravely disappointed. Again, you have made me unleash my dogs of war.
I got to change that clip. I got to put a guinea pig coming out of that hole just to let them know. But no, this has been a lot of fun. Thank you to every single person that stopped in the chat. I know Nelson the Psychopath was in there, Soul Assassin, CJH, Bone was in the house. Papa Cotton also popped in. Opic Racer was in the house as well. Oh, God, Gap After Dark was here. Let me see if I can find a few more people that I'm missing. I know there was a bunch of other people. Soul Assassin was in the house. George Lucas stopped in the house again. George always stops.
Big George Lucas, he always swings by. That's the maker.
I love it when he swings that big dick into my chat. I appreciate the big dick energy, George. Thanks for being here. I know Miss Martin Muses was in the house earlier, and I know I'm missing somebody, but I'm not going to scroll all the way up through the entire chat. You know who you are. Thank you for being here so much. I do appreciate it. The guinea pigs are marching on. The simulations are continuing. I'm still doing shorts right now until I get this problem sorted out with the computer and I can start putting up regular videos again. But at least I have enough internet, thank the maker, to actually start running live streams again. And this has been a lot of fun. Oh, yeah. Parrothead. What's up, Parrothead? You're still here. Thank you, buddy. Squeak, squeak. It's good to see you. But we're going to continue to have fun. Eventually, we are going to be coming back with going old school retro discussions as well. I think I'm going to make that either once a month or maybe twice a month at the most, because I want to make sure that we get some really good topics and people on that really want to talk about those particular topics and really go in depth, because I really don't want to hear certain people when they come on, they don't have nothing to say about it. And they just say, oh, yeah, that's my childhood. Oh, yeah, that really explains how much you really love it. Get out of here with that nonsense. You can miss me with it. But, guys, remember, never let anybody tell you what you can and can't say, what you should or should not watch, because your silence gives consent. And we will catch you next time. Thank you for being here. Later, y'all.
Peace out.
Bye.
Forget the big distribution spend. Assimilated, but you don't know it yet. Attacking us is not very wise. While always growing every secret of your lies. What we are looking at, good and evil, right and wrong. It's a big world order. A big world order. A big world order. A big world order. Somebody's gonna wind up getting their toes nibbled off in here. A big world order. 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 Better hide your toes as we're coming for 'em. A big world order. A big world order. A big world order.